Welcome. We are live. The Dragonfly home is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual housewarming party here in this house. It's a party for this house that we're in right now. This is the first time we've really ever done anything like this.
Yeah, I know. And you've been wanting to do something like this for a long time.
Forever. It's so fun. A little bit nerve-wracking, but it's fun. Yeah. I feel like we are hosts of a parade, like a St. Patrick's Day parade or something.
That's
right
grand.
now, right?
It is that grand.
What do you think now, Whitney?
I'm excited about this.
Awesome. Well, we could go ahead and introduce ourselves. Would you like to begin?
Absolutely. My name is Whitney Anderson, and I am the executive director and one of the co-founders of the Dragonfly Home.
And my name is Melissa Ike, and I am also one of the co-founders of the Dragonfly Home, and I am the director of communications and development.
Yeah.
So here we are. You are seeing the living room of our brand new, soon to open human trafficking transition home. It is a really big deal to open this. We're the first and only organization in the state to open a state certified transition home specifically for victim survivors of human trafficking, which includes sex trafficking and labor trafficking.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is a moment that's very special to us. We've been working on this project on opening, on policies and procedures and furnishing the property and really thinking about what the programming will look like for about a year. And so this feels very real and it really is exciting to celebrate in this way.
One of the reasons that we wanted to do this is because a lot of you have been contributing to the fact that this is becoming a reality. So if you are on our newsletter volunteer list, you may have seen social media. We have a dream list is what it's called for the transition home. And so we've got shopping lists on there for Walmart and Amazon with just stuff we need, stuff you need to have a home. So we got the furnishings and like the bigger stuff, but we need things like plates, cooking ware, pots and pans, silverware, towels and washcloths.
You're nailing it.
I'm nailing it. But it's just the kind of stuff that you have to have when you have a house, except for a lot of people, because we're going to have a lot of people in here.
Yeah, this is truly a home. So I was thinking last night, looking at Amazon. I mean, if you manage a household, you know that it takes a lot to manage a household. But we'll be really managing a whole community in this beautiful home.
Right. So thank you to everyone who has given. There's still quite a bit more we need, but we have received a lot of generous donations from people. And I think that was one of the things that made it start to feel super real. Like this is happening.
Yeah. It feels like Christmas to get in all of the Amazon and Walmart packages. And it's just like piece by piece, this is becoming a reality.
I think what's so cool about it is that it feels like so many people have invested in this and have played an important role. Something that we say a lot at Dragonfly is that to end human trafficking, to help the people who've experienced this really takes everybody playing their part in their own special way. And this is just one example of how that can happen.
Yeah.
Whitney, do you want to talk a little bit about Dragonfly and our services while I pull up our first video?
Yeah. So just to give a little bit of background on Dragonfly, if you're not familiar, Melissa, myself, and another young woman, we founded the Dragonfly Home in 2016, and we subsequently got certified by the Oklahoma Office of the Attorney General in November 2016 to start serving human trafficking victim survivors in Oklahoma. And so we opened what would be the first and only state certified crisis center for individuals who'd been exploited by traffickers for sex or labor, men, women, non-binary people, 15 years old and up. And through this crisis center, individuals who've survived this crime have access to specialized services, people who've been through this. So case management services, access to therapy, medical care, life skills classes, survivor support groups, emergency relocation. I mean, you name it, the services really span the whole spectrum. Because the people we serve are individuals. They have their own individual stories and their own individual needs. And so through the Crisis Center, we do a lot.
You're right.
We also run a 24-hour human trafficking hotline. And so since November of 2016, we've served over 600 survivors of trafficking, and that doesn't even count their children and family members. And then have fielded at least 6,000 hotline calls on our 24-hour hotline.
So now one of the things that was most requested by people we serve, a type of service that they need, is a transition home. So what's unique about this program is this is for people who are have maybe moved out of like a sort of like a crisis situation. So it's not an emergency shelter where people are coming right out of trafficking, but they've reached a certain stability. But to take the steps to get to that next place, which is fully leading their own life, the kind of things that traffickers steal from a person, you know, instead they're going to be making all the choices, calling all the shots, setting goals for the kind of life they want to have. But that's a big step for anyone. And so this transition home really is that in-between place where people can come, stay free of charge. They'll have access to all these services through the crisis center that Whitney was just talking about, but they'll have this place to stay for a while so that they can reach for those life-changing goals that will result in them getting to that independent, self-sustainable place for themselves, and then also for their children, if they have children. And so this is what was requested. And we're always listening to the people that we serve. They're the experts about this. So that's why we decided to open up this program.
Yeah. And in addition to that, I think it's important because I believe we have audience members of varying levels of knowledge of human trafficking, but we've been in this field for about 10 years, even prior to founding the Dragonfly home. And what we've seen is that the people that access our services have often experienced chronic and complex trauma. So we're talking about potentially decades of trauma. And you know, and I know that life can be hard. Just life can be hard. But when you add on what could be decades of trauma, you really need a resource like this.
Yeah.
A resource like this is very helpful to take a beat and to really be able to have a fair shot at getting on your feet.
Yeah. So before we have the world premiere, I mean, it is anyone in the whole world could be watching this right now, of our virtual tour of this transition home. I do want to point out that in the description or the caption, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, we've got some links for you. So if you're listening to this and you're saying, yes, I want to be a part of this, I want to invest in whatever way I can, we have several options there. So I have a link to the dream list where you can see all kinds of items you can order through Walmart or Amazon. You could just give a financial donation if that feels right to you. We also have several opportunities to sponsor rooms within this house. So if that is something that piques your interest, that information is there as well. So okay, I
need to give a drop.
We're
gonna give a drop on it's Amazon Prime Day.
Oh, that's right,
y'all.
It's Amazon Prime Day. We scheduled this before we knew that it was going to be.
Absolutely. And so I'm just saying, check out the Amazon list.
Right. Yeah.
Send me some Christmas gifts. Send me some boxes.
That was a very good job.
It's not for me.
No. You're just the one that gets to open them.
Yes.
Right. Okay, let's pull up this video and we're going to show you, this is like never before seen. I guess that's what world premiere means. But you're going to be able to watch this video and really get a feel for our place. So let's do it. Well, there we go.
We wanted to point out some of our favorite parts of the transition home, and honestly, this kitchen is the heart of the home. This is going to be a very special place where so many women and their children build incredible memories. So I am super thankful to say that we've already gotten several things from our wish list for this home. This KitchenAid mixer is a part of that. We also have coffee pots and seasonings and a Ninja and coffee mugs,
some dishes, things like that. We still need some additional things. So if you're interested in donating, check out the link to the dream list in the video description. But I mean, this is happening. It's real. People who've donated already are really making this into a working home.
Absolutely. And you nailed it, Melissa. We've been working on opening this home and working on this project, making sure that we pay attention to every single detail. And honestly, things coming in from our supporters, from our donors, it makes it real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every single gift I look at and I think, wow, this is how a survivor is going to use it. Or
Absolutely.
this is an aspect of the home that's going to help bring joy and build autonomy.
Right. So think about your kitchen at your home. If you have family or friends over, standing around having coffee, or people keeping you company while you're cooking, like that's the kind of thing that people who we serve, maybe they haven't had that opportunity, but those are the moments that make life so rich, and so you're really helping that happen here.
Yeah, and also I might add that food is truly my love language, so this is a very special place for me.
The food happens here.
Yeah.
You're making that possible. Welcome to our community area, living room, dining room combo. This is, it's just a beautiful place in our transition home.
I see so much laughter happening here and just the sound of hope, the sound of community. We really are not meant to do life alone. And so what I've heard from so many survivors over the years is that they want so desperately to build relationships with people who've been through similar things, that have had similar experiences. And like, this is the setting to do that, to watch movies and to have fun and to just hang out.
Play games, spend time with people, relax. Things that I think a lot of us take for granted when we're in our homes and we're able to just settle in and take a break from the rest of the world. And so this offers a beautiful environment that we all love spending time in, and people that we serve will enjoy. One of the key elements of the transition home is providing an opportunity for the people we serve to pursue goals in life. It is a transition home, and so by definition, this is a place where people can, they've come out of a crisis situation but need a little bit more support to move into an independent and sustainable life. And so that requires certain goals that people will set for themselves. This room is a big part of it.
So exactly, Melissa. And I see people that live here utilizing this room for very important things to gain autonomy. And that looks like maybe building resumes or researching employment opportunities, taking online classes, doing virtual doctor or other appointments. Yeah. This is just a really special room that will provide a safe space for the people that live here. Here we are in the multi-purpose room of the transition home. People who live here will be able to use this room for a multitude of activities. One purpose being kind of a little kids area. As we mentioned before, we do serve women who've survived labor and sex trafficking, but also their children. So this will be a very important space. We will also have a yoga studio, a workout area, and a relaxation area.
Something that we recognize at Dragonfly is that healing is a holistic journey. It's not just about therapy all the time, constantly going to the doctor and focusing just on the bad things. It's about living life, building life, and discovering things. And like Whitney was saying, you heal through all sorts of different ways. So maybe for some people that might include meditation or prayer. For some people it could be yoga. For some people, working out. So we want to provide a space that can accommodate people. Everyone's different, so accommodate people in the different ways that healing makes a difference for them. So far you have seen our kitchen, our multi-purpose room, our community room, and now we have laundry room. Every single room at the transition home is important. A lot of people that we serve haven't had the opportunity to learn how to do laundry and other types of life skills. This is just one of the kind of things that traffickers steal from people when they exploit them in trafficking. And so we've got this really nice, bright laundry room where people can learn how to do laundry. And that is part of what makes life sustainable. So one of the things that we have on our dream list are towel and washcloth sets. And look, we have received some of them. We do need quite a few more for all the people that we serve, but to those who have donated, thank you. And if you would like to donate some towels and washcloths, then you can click the link in the description for our dream list, toss them into a little cart, and send them. Now we're going to take you through the bedrooms that we have in the transition home. Each one has its own distinct style and personality, but this one is extra special because it has a special dedication.
Yeah, prior to founding the Dragonfly home, myself and other staff had the opportunity of working with a very special young woman who had been trafficked most of her life. And so in working with this young lady and learning about her story and learning about the services she needed, she truly was one of the inspirations behind wanting to open a transition home, behind seeing the need for that. And so this room will be dedicated to her. Part of the philosophy of the Dragonfly home is that we want to offer services in a super comfortable, trauma-informed environment where the people that we serve feel welcome and at peace, and they recognize that they deserve the very best despite what traffickers have told them. And so it's just so important to the Dragonfly home to have high quality decor and things that create comfort and peace in a bedroom.
Yeah, so rather than a setting where all the rooms are pretty much the same, we really wanted to add a lot of personality, which is why you will see every single room has different decor, different features, are a little bit different. Some rooms have they have a sitting area, and so that fosters community, a place where someone can journal or read. Again, it's just about a space where someone can just breathe and be, and that is so important in the healing. We are in another one of our transition home bedrooms. I would just like to point out for myself that this bedspread is my favorite. And I also love this art piece, and I would have them in my own home, and I love them very much. But also we wanted to show how these rooms are adaptable to the needs of the people that we serve.
Yeah, we have a number of bassinets and cribs and different things to accommodate the unique situations of the residents that we'll have. And oftentimes that means different children of different ages that we need to accommodate. So we've been super thankful for the various children's gifts and bedroom items that we have on our wish list that people have donated.
Something that we talk about at Dragonfly, and I'm not exaggerating when I say we talk about it all the time, is that it takes everybody playing a role to end human trafficking and to serve the victims of this crime. And really our transition home is a good example of that.
Yeah, so Melissa is talking specifically about an interior designer that we've used for a number of years to support the Dragonfly home. Ronette Wallace of Off the Wall Interiors volunteered to decorate this beautiful transition home, and we've just been so thankful for her. But she is an example of somebody who is so passionate about helping other people and using the skill set that she has, what she is good at, to benefit those people.
So everything that you've seen here, and also our crisis center, when you see videos and photos of that and how beautiful it all is.
Here we are in one of my favorite bedrooms. I just love all of the color in this room. This is one of my favorite cabinets. I love how this room especially highlights the unique features that Melissa was talking about earlier in our tour, and also highlights one of our philosophies at Dragonfly. We operate intentionally on a smaller service provision model so that individuals receive high quality services and they don't feel like just a number.
So evidence-based studies show that receiving care and services in a smaller, more community, home-like environment is actually the most effective way for someone to heal more quickly, more effectively, and maybe for long-term healing. So we don't just have these rooms this way because we like stuff being cute. I mean, it's a nice bonus, but it's this way for a reason. This is going to be an environment where people receive services and care. So we are now in one of our 2 family rooms. Like Whitney was showing you earlier, some of our smaller rooms can be adapted for people who have a baby or a child, but it's actually not uncommon for people to come out of sex trafficking with several children. And so this is one of our larger family rooms. We've got 2 full-size beds here and then got a trundle under here. So this room can really adapt for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I will say that this bedroom is my top favorite bedroom in the transition home. And this bed is super comfortable. It's actually been vetted by my newborn baby who took a nap in it.
So you know it's good.
It's high quality. It's approved.
Mm-hmm. But this is just such a comfortable, homey space where, some kiddos are going to be able to have a more healthy environment to grow up in. And something that we say about Dragonfly a lot is that we're breaking the cycle of exploitation. So when children have a safer space, a more stable space to grow up in, and that already is helpful, but then we're helping their parent move into a sustainable, more stable life. And so this is just the first step of breaking abuse. So we are in our second family room, and this is the last stop on our virtual tour of our forthcoming human trafficking transition home.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you will partner with us in opening the state's first ever human trafficking transition home.
This is history being made. We are pioneering services in our state that are desperately needed, that were requested by people that we serve, and by supporting this place, you are going to make a difference. There's just no way that you can't not make a difference when you support the transition home. That was a sentence, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. And so what we need you to do right now is look at the description of the video in the YouTube description box or the Facebook caption and click on those links. So we have a link to our dream list where you can purchase specific items for this transition home, or if you want, you can just go to our donate page on our website and make a financial donation. Whatever you choose to do is going to make a difference right now, today. Welcome back. First, I want to say hello to some people who have joined us here. We want to say hello to Hallie. We want to say hello to Angelicia. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Elizabeth Billingsley, one of our volunteers. Elizabeth also shouted out Ronette specifically, who's the interior designer we were mentioning. So thank you for that extra shout out, Elizabeth. Charlotte, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for your incredibly kind words. Something that we say a lot is that it is an incredible privilege to get to spend our time and our days doing this work. So thank you to everyone who is watching right now. Hello, thank you for joining us live. If you are watching a replay, hello to you as well. We're very glad to have you here. Okay, so that was a world premiere of our virtual transition home tour. What did you think?
I loved it. I hadn't seen the video before. Of course, I was a part of the creation,
yes,
but it is really neat to see it laid out in that way. So, yeah.
So something we thought we would talk about briefly is just people seem to be interested in hearing our journey, our why, how we got started, that kind of thing. Do you want to start or you want me to start?
I will.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. So I'll give the shorter version.
Oh, I mean, it's a 3-hour live stream. We have 2.5 hours to go. I say go all out, right? But okay, you do you.
Yeah. So of course, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I think many of us really don't know. But I went to college for business, and I was studying business. I was getting my master's in business when I stumbled upon some information that really changed things for me. One of my business professors had me do an assignment related to researching outsourcing of labor to manufacture clothing in third world countries. And so I did this research assignment, and I learned about labor exploitation, but I also learned about labor trafficking. And I learned about the fact that there were slaves in the world today. And that was really hard for me to hear. I wanted to do something about it, but I had no idea like what that would look like or what that would be. And it seemed honestly too big and too daunting. But I kept digging in, and my faith leads me to make decisions. And so I was praying for different opportunities to come about. And an opportunity did come about. And so my husband and I, we went on a mission trip to a country called Lesotho, and it's surrounded by the country of South Africa. And we had the opportunity to work with an organization that was working there with human trafficking survivors from across the world. And so I wasn't there for long. I mean, it was less than 2 weeks, but and the crazy cool thing is that the people that I met, I never knew their story. I didn't need to know their story, right? I knew that they had been trafficked. I knew that they had been through hell. We didn't speak the same language. But I guess, again, food is my love language, because
it's true.
I'm backing it up.
Can confirm.
Yeah. So we were baking. We were actually making cake pops, and just the feeling of joy and hope in the kitchen, and the smiles and the laughter, that was super inspiring to me. So I just drew inspiration from the survivors. Like, they had been through these experiences, but they didn't let that define them. And that hope was possible after that kind of trauma. And so I kept digging in, and I began working with an organization in Oklahoma City. And we started building programming in Oklahoma City for survivors. I had the wonderful opportunity to work with more and more survivors over the years. This is where I met Melissa. And I mean, honestly, I guess the continued theme of my journey into human trafficking victim advocacy is seeing the strength and the resiliency of the people that have been through this. Like, I just stand there in awe of them. And that's why, to me, that's some of my backstory and leads us to now. But that is what keeps us going, and why it feels like such a privilege and honor to do this work.
Yeah. You know, we've heard each other tell our stories so many times. I think that we could all give some version of it, but I feel like every time I hear you say it again, it really touches my heart again, like to be in this together with our third co-founder and program director, and our incredible staff. I always love hearing this.
Same.
So for me, it's interesting because in recent years, something I learned about myself was when I was a little kid, I was constantly imagining like a childhood version, I guess, of what I'm doing now. You all, I would
You're gonna air this on the world premiere?
Listen, I have nothing to hide. It's not that shameful. I would get my Barbies together, and my parents would wake up on a Saturday morning, and there would be concert posters throughout the house that I had made, and it was benefit concert, which raised no actual money. And I would do like this little concert with my Barbies, and they were always like raising money for something. Any Gem and the Holograms watchers out there? If you know, you know. Anyway, so I was always like imagining that instead of playing house, I would pretend like I was running a shelter for vulnerable people. I didn't call it that at the time because I was 11. And so I didn't know, but I would like play act that I was doing this. And I had totally forgotten about that until after we'd started Dragonfly. And I started thinking about it. And I was like, oh, wow. First of all, what a nerdy little kid. But secondly, I'm like, I feel like this was inevitable, right? So that's just kind of like a funny thing to say. But I was in law school. I'm like Whitney. I had prayed for a long time about the direction of my life, and I felt really drawn to law school, even though I didn't particularly want to do that. But about 6 weeks in, I went to some meeting of an organization, and they showed an MTV 30-minute documentary about sex trafficking in Europe, starring Angelina Jolie. And it was the kind of thing where there's this moment in my memory where it ended and everybody had eaten their lunch and the lights come on, everybody starts shuffling around, putting their stuff away, and they're ready to leave the meeting. And I just remember feeling like I was just pinned to my seat. I was like, what did I just see? And it took me a few years to even remember that moment. I was like, that's actually that first moment. And then throughout law school, it was like everywhere I turned, I could not get away from this cause. So I started practicing law, but I felt so drawn to this. But like Whitney was saying, what do you do for something like this? When you hear numbers like there are 43 to 60 million people in human trafficking around the world and all of the barriers, and like, what do you do with that? Right. And so finally I just like couldn't take it anymore, and I had to take a step and do something. And so I started looking like, well, what can I do? Where can I volunteer? And then I volunteered for a few different organizations, and one of them was one where I met Whitney. And we realized that we had a common passion for working on this issue, but working on it here in the United States. Everyone has a special calling. And so there are people who are drawn to fighting this around the world. And that's awesome because it takes everyone doing what they're called to. But we felt called to work on this here. And so we founded Dragonfly because we realized that there were some gaps in services, that there were people who were trafficking victim survivors that weren't being served, that needed help. And so we thought, well, let's do what we can to fill some of those gaps. And that's when we started our crisis center in 2016.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty weird to do like a nutshell version.
Right, to recount that. So we've been on this journey together for some amount of years, and it's just been incredible. Yeah. There have been some hard days, and it's been hard work. And we've really been a part of pioneering services that truly didn't exist in this part of our state. And so I'm just forever thankful, and I'm thankful to be doing alongside you.
Yeah, same. We've known each other almost 10 years.
That's wild.
That's wild.
Yeah. So Melissa and I were talking, this is off topic.
It's off topic. This is like coffee chat with Melissa and Whitney, and this is actual coffee. So
we've begun ordering the same foods at every restaurant that we go to.
This is a pretty recent phenomenon. I think we've done it. We've been, eating together, and now we really just order two of things. And then like the other day, I got there a little bit after Whitney. She'd already placed the order. She just ordered two of the same thing. I was like, now that's special. Yeah. That's some kind of special.
We're bonded in this work.
Right. And food is your love language. Exactly. This is the third time we've said it so far today.
Exactly. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, something I would like to point out is, and this is another thing we talk about a lot, is that we couldn't do this alone. Yeah. It really takes people coming together with their resources to make this kind of thing happen. And so we have some special videos to share with you tonight for organizations / individuals, you'll see as we watch, who specifically gave for the transition home to make it a reality. But before we hop into those, I want to say we've had another comment here. Well, if my mouse will work. Oh, okay.
Leslie, I love you.
There we go. Leslie Massid, been with us pretty much since day one. So thank you. Yeah. Before day one. So like negative days. I'm not sure how you would say that. Leslie, thank you so much for being here, for your kind encouragement for so many years. And Elizabeth Billingsley knows Gem and the holograms. Well, I don't know why it won't. Oh, there we go. Gem and the holograms. Yeah. Thanks, Elizabeth. You really helped me to feel validated. Okay. I'm going to pull up this next video here. What do you want to talk about? You want to introduce one of our videos? You want to talk a little bit about Fletcher?
Yes. So I don't know what all we included in the video, but we are just tremendously grateful for all of our supporters. And there have been a few that have, again, stuck with us, along this whole journey and that have been passionate about this cause for close to a decade. And so we have supporters, Fletcher and Jama Ownby. And they've really stuck with us, right? They've given encouragement and support as we opened our crisis center and as we opened our transition home. And lovely Jama lost her life with her battle of cancer. And so we wanted to dedicate a room and the transition home to her and to her generous heart and her memory. And so we had Fletcher come and talk about how he got involved in this cause and about his special lady, Jama.
Yes. Well, we're having a little lag, but it is going. Here we go. Okay. Well, we're so happy to have you here today, Fletcher, joining us in our brand new human trafficking transition home. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, you have been supporting Dragonfly. You and your wife have supported Dragonfly for many years. And we just wanted you to talk a little bit about how you discovered the cause of human trafficking and what is it about this cause that made you want to get involved?
Well, ironically, as you know, my wife passed away in February. For years, I would take her on a weekend retreat. We'd prayerfully consider what we should be doing as a couple or individually, what God would have us be about. And I came out of one of those weekends with those words, human trafficking, in my heart. Absolutely no idea why, that's where God wanted us to be involved. The next day, I came to the office, I got a call from a national organization on human trafficking.
Wow, the next day.
The next day.
Wow.
So, sometimes I'm slow, but God gets through. And that really started my passion for it. And the company I worked for, I was able to convince them as an outdoor billboard company to support human trafficking awareness. Tens of thousands of dollars, not only here in Oklahoma City, but nationwide. And they put me in charge of the public service in that regard. It was just, again, God knew exactly what he was doing. Then as I became more involved through a number of different organizations, and we met at the Attorney General's office at the task force where I met Whitney. We continued to focus on where the front lines were in Oklahoma City, and through your all educating me and keeping us up to speed, we had the opportunity to see one of the shelters, and the idea of a place where these women can come that is not just temporary, but long-term, where they can receive nurturing, a lot of love, counseling, retraining, and be able to take a deep breath, because what they've been through is unfathomable. And so we could think of no better place for us to invest our resources, our time, our energy, our finances, as God allowed in this ministry. And we're really excited about this home that you're creating that will make a huge difference in the lives of these women.
I like how you put that about it being a place where someone can just take a breath after coming out of trauma, and just the incredible courage that we see in the people we serve, the courage that it takes just to reach out for help, and then finally getting to a place where someone can really let down their guard, maybe for the first time in a very long time. It is a blessing to be able to provide a place like that.
Absolutely, and you know this because we've talked about it a lot, but we at Dragonfly, we're on the front lines and we're doing the work every single day, but we absolutely couldn't do this without supporters like you and your wife. And so we thought it best and most appropriate to dedicate a room to Jama. So we're standing right here, and this is what I consider really the heart of the home. This is where so many women and children will be able to take a breath, learn how to cook and bake, and just gather together over food. I think it's a very special thing, and to learn about their value and to learn that there's more, that there's hope.
And so this hope-filled place is the place that we will dedicate to Jama. And so we're thankful for all of the support that you've given. We're thankful also for the mixer that Fletcher got off of our transition home wish list. I think it will serve hundreds of people.
And you were
bring so
telling
much
us a little bit about how Jama is related
This
to
is
this.
identical to the one that she has
Oh, wow.
in our home. So when I saw this on the list, I thought, well, it was her telling me.
Okay.
You
What
better
she
get
needs
there,
to do.
right?
It's in the kitchen, honoring for her, and things wouldn't be so special to Jama as she loved to be in the background.
Yeah.
And people who will never know her name, she will be honored in a place where love happens tangibly, as you mentioned, people breaking bread together, and that's a huge part of the background of her faith. It's what draws people together in a non-threatening way, in a way that's warm and loving.
Well, we know her name, and we know your name, and we're so blessed to be able to have this place in her memory, honoring her, and then honoring you with us here today.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you, Fletcher.
So moving. We were there and we've been a part of it the whole time, but just to hear Fletcher's words and hear about Jama touches our hearts.
Yeah.
I think something that is always so incredible to me is how at some of the hardest times in people's lives, they are at the same time so incredibly generous and able to find beautiful moments, find ways to honor the people that they love and serve others in doing so. I think that that takes incredible strength. And I'm seeing this connection to people who we serve, right? People who have experienced really hard things, the hardest things, and darkness. And it's kind of like what you were talking about, even with the people you were working with in Africa and people that we've served here, is the incredible strength that it takes someone who's going through such a hard time to find moments of beauty. People that we serve have a passion for giving back. They want to help other people. And I think that, boy, it just shows such strength of character, I think, and determination and love.
Yeah, I think that we live in some pretty hard times, but I think that adding to the privilege of being in our seats, in our positions, is that we get to see the most beautiful parts of human nature. And so Fletcher and Jama are a part of that.
Yeah. So thank you to them. I also wanted to show a video. As I bring up videos, listen, I think we've all learned in the last couple of years that when we're doing a live stream, there's going to be lags and glitches, but it's going pretty well.
I think so.
So I pull up a video and it might pause a little bit, and that's what the live stream life is. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our next video where we feature the Inasmuch Foundation. You've surely seen that word. If you're in Oklahoma City, you have seen the words Inasmuch Foundation. Would you like to intro them while I pull up our video?
Yes. So Inasmuch is another one of our donors, local foundation that has continued to support our work. And so we had the great honor of interviewing from the Inasmuch Foundation.
So let's go ahead and hear from her.
Foundation. This foundation has generously supported the Dragonfly home since basically the very beginning. So we are just so grateful for you, Alta, and for your team. Can you tell us a little bit about why you all choose to support the Dragonfly home?
Sure. So here at Inasmuch Foundation, we champion community, human services, journalism, and education. And we really do that so that we can provide a better future and a brighter tomorrow for the citizens of our community and for Oklahomans. And I think that really resonated with us when we learned about your mission and the work that you do at Dragonfly Home, because you're talking about one of the most vulnerable populations dealing with extremely traumatic situations. and to be able to live through those experiences, to come out the other side of them, and to be survivors is something we want so many people, especially individuals who have been through the experience of human trafficking, to know that there is hope and that there is possibilities for a brighter future.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what our transition home will do, right? We just talked about this. You and Bob, I think, were a couple of the first people to tour. Can you describe, because we won't give tours, can you describe kind of the feeling of the transition home or what you all thought about it?
Absolutely. So I was really impressed, and I know Bob was too when we had the opportunity, so thank you for that opportunity. It's a very inviting space. It's open and friendly, so there can be times where individuals that are living in this home can come together as a group, but there's also spaces for them to be alone as a family or as an individual, so they have the opportunity to both have that really great social interaction and connection with others, but also have time for themselves. And I really saw the intentionality with the furnishings, with the way you laid it out, with the kitchen and the communal aspect of things, that this is going to be a special place for a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see why Alta is one of our favorites, because she just gets it. I think the really cool part about in as much as support, and so many of you who will be watching today, is that you've supported the transition home in different ways. And so in as much, actually, the funding went towards the furnishings, which we are very intentional about. We recognize that the people we serve have been through a lot, and so the first thing we want them to feel is the peace and the warmth and the hope that can happen after just an insidious crime, an insidious kind of exploitation occurs in their lives. So thank you for creating that atmosphere.
And I hope that we want to, just encourage others to consider giving to Dragonfly Home and to the transition home. I think the thing that resonated with me the most learning about the work that you do is that this can happen to anyone. It isn't something that's just a problem in another country or in another state. This is going on right next door. It could be down the street. It could be one neighborhood over, but it's happening to our community members. And so sometimes it's not this something that's just going on that we hear about on the news. It could be a family member or a boyfriend or a father or an uncle exploiting someone. And so knowing that this is a challenge, and a challenge that more people face than we even realize, really made it important for us to want to support the great work that you're doing and your mission. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Alta just basically said everything that we needed to say for this entire, she really nutshelled it for us.
Yeah, absolutely. We love her, and we love the Inasmuch Foundation. And I think it is important, and we wanted to talk about the intentionality of the environment of our programming. Melissa mentioned earlier how important it is for us to truly listen to survivor voices, as they are the experts of their own experiences. And so in learning from them and learning from these experts with so much wisdom, we gained a lot of information about what kind of environment would create the most peace and this feeling of safety. And so we've incorporated that not only at our crisis center, but that's been duplicated, really magnified here at the transition home.
Yeah. So something that we'll show throughout the course of this night, if you missed it, like Whitney also said in the video, we're not going to give tours of the transition home because this is a confidential location for the safety of the people that we serve. And also people will be living here as their homes. You wouldn't want someone just traipsing through your home on a tour. I know I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
No, right? And that just doesn't contribute to the feeling of a safe environment. So that's why we made our virtual tour. So we have that video. We're going to be showing that again a little after 7 o'clock. And then later tonight, we also have a virtual tour of our crisis center, like Whitney mentioned. So if you're able to stick around for both, you'll see as we go through our crisis center and then the transition home, you'll see this continuity. So wherever people that we serve are receiving services, whether it's an actual residential setting like this or the non-residential crisis center, we want it to always feel like home. I know that I'm much more comfortable in a home-like environment. And so we've got comfy couches and comfy chairs, and there's soothing colors with pops of bright colors and blankets and pillows and that intentionality that Whitney mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next thing I wanted to show first, though, is that we've got a couple of really great videos telling the stories based on people that we have actually served. One is a young woman who we call Eva. Of course, name, identity, image, all of that is concealed and changed. And then another one called Krista. Or that's what we call her. And so I thought that we would go ahead and show Eva's story. We wanted to show that because people like to hear the stories of the people we serve. And so this is the safest way to highlight their voices, highlight their stories in a safe way. Would you like to intro Eva's story while I pull it up here?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts of Eva's story and Krista's story is that you see the incredible strength and grit that it takes to survive an experience of trafficking, to move forward, to achieve goals. But also you see in these stories the need for this transition home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope that you all pay attention and really enjoy these videos in the way of celebrating the strength of the survivors.
Absolutely.
What first struck me about Eva was just how brave and determined she was, especially given the absolute hell that she had been through in sex trafficking as just a teenager. By her 19th birthday, and in just a few months of coming to the Dragonfly home, Eva had regained her footing. She had begun to see in herself her own incredible courage, and she was full of dreams for her new life. Eva's story is a good example of what sex trafficking can commonly look like here in Oklahoma. Her family didn't have a whole lot. Her mom worked around the clock just to make ends meet. When Christopher, a charming older guy, started hanging out with Eva and her group of high school friends, he purposely singled her out, pouring all of his attention on her, and this made Eva feel beautiful and important. Christopher made Eva believe he really cared about her and her family. He helped her family with groceries a few times, bought her little brother a new pair of tennis shoes, and even bought her a designer purse. But Eva couldn't have possibly realized his true motive, that he was making a small investment in her life so that he could make a much bigger profit off of her later on. One afternoon, Eva went to go hang out with Christopher, just like she had so many times before. But this time, he drove her to a hotel room, forced her inside, and then immediately raped her. He threatened her with his gun and demanded that she do exactly what he told her to do, or else he'd kill her entire family. That's when he started bringing men in, one after the next,
Christopher had arranged for these men to have sex with Eva for his own financial gain. Eva was devastated. She was crushed, confused. She felt trapped, and she was unable to tell anybody about what was happening to her for fear of what would happen to her family. For the rest of the summer, Christopher posted ads of her and sold her to strangers for sex. Thankfully, law enforcement saw the ads and they did an undercover investigation. They actually recovered Eva, arrested Christopher, and Eva was referred to the Dragonfly home. This is where Eva's experience in sex trafficking had come to an end, but it was just the beginning of a very long journey to restoration and healing. Eva came to the Dragonfly Home Human Trafficking Relief and Restoration Center, where we've served hundreds of victim survivors of sex and labor trafficking. Through our case management services, Eva had the opportunity to process everything that had happened to her in a safe place and begin sorting out everything she needed to be able to move forward. We worked with her to create a plan so that she could accomplish the goals that she set for herself. Eva's number one concern was safety because of Christopher's threats towards her and her family. We worked with her to create a safety plan specific to her situation so that she could feel safer and that she would feel more prepared if she found herself in a dangerous situation. Eva also decided she wanted to do therapy. It's a brave step to work through trauma like that, but she did it. She put in the hard work, and with each session, she felt more and more hopeful that she could get through this. Eva also made the courageous decision to testify against Christopher in court. This is so hard, but with our court advocacy program, Eva felt more prepared and more empowered to help. With the help of her testimony, Christopher was sentenced and put behind bars. After that, it was like everything just clicked for Eva. Christopher no longer had the power to take anything else from her, and she wasn't going to let her experience in sex trafficking define her. This is the moment that Eva really began to dream again for herself, and she eagerly started working towards her goals, like learning how to drive, getting her first job, and saving for college. Eva continues to get support from the Dragonfly Home. She loves the survivor support groups where she's made friends who've been through similar experiences. Recently, Eva even enrolled in community college. This was a huge milestone for her. Eva really exemplifies our mission at Dragonfly. We believe that every victim survivor of human trafficking deserves freedom and the opportunity to pursue a new life. And our role is to walk alongside them and provide them with whatever they need to move forward. When people support Dragonfly, they're supporting people like Eva and so many other victim survivors of human trafficking as they walk toward their own future of freedom.
I love that video. I love that story. So any thoughts on that? Since, I mean, we recorded that a few years ago, before the transition home was even a dream that we had, that we knew we had no idea that we were going to be opening it then. It seems like this could have been a good fit for Eva.
Yeah, definitely. And I think so. Eva really, like you're saying, her story mirrors a lot of what we hear from our current clients now. The voice and the need for transitional housing, this step in between the crisis and the emergency, and then self-sustainability. Like, where is that help? And so her story is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. And so one thing that we want to emphasize, you know, on this virtual tour, this virtual housewarming party, it is for the purpose of welcoming you virtually to our transition home, but it's also to give you the opportunity to get involved. You really can make a difference. So you may have heard me say it, or maybe this is the first time, but if you look in the description, if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, in our description or like the caption, we've got some ways that you can get involved. And they range in, I mean, it's all kinds of price points. It's whatever you feel drawn to, whatever fits your situation best. But we've got, first of all, our dream list. And that is, we've got Walmart and Amazon. Do you want to give your Prime Day plug? It's your favorite.
Prime Day.
Okay. So it's Amazon Prime Day. And I mean, if you like to give things that are tangible, right? Like, for example, I gave a whisk. I bought a whisk kind of to test the system. And when I put the whisk in my shopping cart and I knew it was coming to Dragonfly, I was like, well, that's pretty fun, actually. I saw the whisk with my own eyes the other day.
And I received it at my own home on my own doorstep.
Right, exactly. It was so fun. But we have all kinds of things in there that you can purchase, towel and washcloth sets and kitchen utensils, cookware, pots and pans. We also have things in there like community building items. So you'll see like a video game console and board games, because life isn't just about the trauma and working through that all the time. Life is also about those other kinds of moments. And so those things where people can have some fun.
Yeah, I think so. Our program director talks about this all the time. Like, it's not about living in that place of trauma or letting that be what defines you. It's about building new memories and joy and fun and community and friends. Yeah. And so we know that that's what will happen here.
Yeah. So you have the opportunity to give some of those specific items. If you prefer, you can give a cash monetary donation. We've got a link there to our donate page on our website. And then if you would be interested in sponsoring a room, we have several here that are available. And I've got those listed there as well. If you sponsor a room, we don't have any photos of it. Well, you get a plaque and it's a circle and it's colorful and it says your name on it. So, or dedicating, like we've got some that are in memory to people as well. So that is another option. There's just like a variety of ways that you can leave your mark on this transition home and make a difference, like right now, right in this moment. You can make a difference for victim survivors of human trafficking.
Yeah. And I think, so Melissa and I told our stories earlier, and like, we didn't know what to do when we heard about this crime, when we heard that this happened to people, to human beings today. And so we kind of tested the waters. We did little things, like you wrote notes to survivors and I made cake pops. Like, so we just kind of dipped in the water, and we found that this, in fact, really fed what we were passionate about. And so I can almost guarantee that if you dip your toe in and you buy a whisk or you buy a spatula,
for example,
you're going to be even more compelled to see the needs of human trafficking survivors here in our state of Oklahoma.
And you never know how it could open doors for you to make a difference in other ways as well. That is something that happened for us too.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, for those who are just joining or who would like to see it again, in a minute, I'm going to show the virtual tour of the transition home again. I want to give a little shout out here to EL, who is going to join and watch the rest of our stream later. Thank you so much for joining us. Very happy to have you here. Hello to everyone watching live or watching via replay. And then I'm going to be swapping out my co-hosts is basically what's going to be happening. So the wonderful Whitney Anderson is going to take off. Any parting words for the people?
No, you all, I just have to keep expressing my gratitude. I know in building this program literally from scratch, like how many different people it took to make this happen. And so thank you for investing your time tonight. Time is the most precious resource, to hearing us and hearing about our passion and this mission and the incredible people that we serve. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, me too. Okay, I'm going to pull up our tour here and get that going. We're going to show this basically at the top of the hour, every hour until we end at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So you'll have plenty of opportunities to see it.
We wanted to point out some of our favorite parts of the transition home, and honestly, this kitchen is the heart of the home. This is going to be a very special place where so many women and their children build incredible memories. So I am super thankful to say that we've already gotten several things from our wish list for this home. This KitchenAid mixer is part of that. We also have coffee pots and seasonings and a Ninja and coffee mugs, some dishes, things like that. We still need some additional things, so if you're interested in donating, check out the link to the dream list in the video description. But I mean, this is happening. It's real. People who've donated already are really making this into a working home. Absolutely. And you nailed it, Melissa. We've been working on opening this home and working on this project, making sure that we pay attention to every single detail. And honestly, things coming in from our supporters, from our donors, it makes it real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every single gift, I look at and I think, wow, this is how a survivor is going to use it. Or
Absolutely.
this is an aspect of the home that's going to help bring joy and build autonomy.
Well, think about your kitchen at your home. If you have family or friends over, standing around having coffee, or people keeping you company while you're cooking, like that's the kind of thing that people who we serve, maybe they haven't had that opportunity, but those are the moments that make life so rich, and so you're really helping that happen here.
Yeah, and also I might add that food is truly my love language, so this is a very special place for me.
The food happens here.
Yeah.
You're making that possible. Welcome to our community area, living room, dining room combo. This is, I mean, it's just a beautiful place in our transition home.
I see so much laughter happening here and just the sound of hope, the sound of community. We really are not meant to do life alone. And so what I've heard from so many survivors over the years is that they want so desperately to build relationships with people who've been through similar things, that have had similar experiences. And like, this is the setting to do that, to watch movies and to have fun and to just hang out.
Play games, spend time with people, relax. I mean, things that I think a lot of us take for granted when we're in our homes and we're able to just settle in and take a break from the rest of the world. And so this offers a beautiful environment that we all love spending time in, and people that we serve will enjoy. One of the key elements of the transition home is providing an opportunity for the people we serve to pursue goals in life. It is a transition home, and so by definition, this is a place where people can, they've come out of a crisis situation but need a little bit more support to move into an independent and sustainable life. And so that requires certain goals that people will set for themselves. This room is a big part of it.
So exactly, Melissa. And I see people that live here utilizing this room for very important things to gain autonomy. And that looks like maybe building resumes or researching employment opportunities, taking online classes, doing virtual doctor or other appointments. This is just a really special room that will provide a safe space for the people that live here. Here we are in the multi-purpose room of the transition home. People who live here will be able to use this room for a multitude of activities. One purpose being kind of a little kids area. As we mentioned before, we do serve women who've survived labor and sex trafficking, but also their children. So this will be a very important space. We will also have a yoga studio, a workout area, and a relaxation area.
Something that we recognize at Dragonfly is that healing is a holistic journey. It's not just about therapy all the time and constantly going to the doctor and focusing just on the bad things. It's about living life, building life, and discovering things. And like Whitney was saying, like, you heal through all sorts of different ways. So maybe for some people that might include meditation or prayer. For some people it could be yoga. For some people, working out. So we want to provide a space that can accommodate people. Everyone's different, you know, so accommodate people in the different ways that healing makes a difference for them. So far you have seen our kitchen, our multi-purpose room, our community room, and now we have laundry room. Every single room at the transition home is important. A lot of people that we serve haven't had the opportunity to learn how to do laundry and other types of life skills. This is just one of the kind of things that traffickers steal from people when they exploit them in trafficking. And so we've got this really nice, bright laundry room where people can learn how to do laundry. And that is part of what makes life sustainable. So one of the things that we have on our dream list are towel and washcloth sets. And look, we have received some of them. We do need quite a few more for all the people that we serve, but to those who have donated, thank you. And if you would like to donate some towels and washcloths, then you can click the link in the description for our dream list. Toss them into a little cart and send them. Now we're going to take you through the bedrooms that we have in the transition home. Each one has its own distinct style and personality, but this one is extra special because it has a special dedication.
Yeah, prior to founding the Dragonfly home, myself and other staff had the opportunity of working with a very special young woman who had been trafficked most of her life. And so in working with this young lady and learning about her story and learning about the services she needed, she truly was one of the inspirations behind wanting to open a transition home, behind seeing the need for that. And so this room will be dedicated to her. Part of the philosophy of the Dragonfly home is that we want to offer services in a super comfortable, trauma-informed environment where the people that we serve feel welcome and at peace, and they recognize that they deserve the very best despite what traffickers have told them. And so it's just so important to the Dragonfly home to have high quality decor and things that create comfort and peace in a bedroom.
Yeah, so rather than a setting where all the rooms are pretty much the same, we really wanted to add a lot of personality, which is why you will see every single room has different decor, different features, are a little bit different. Some rooms have they have a sitting area, and so that fosters community, a place where someone can journal or read. Again, it's just about a space where someone can just breathe and be, and that is so important in the healing. We are in another one of our transition home bedrooms. I would just like to point out for myself that this bedspread is my favorite. And I also love this art piece, and I would have them in my own home, and I love them very much. But also we wanted to show how these rooms are adaptable to the needs of the people that we serve.
Yeah, we have a number of bassinets and cribs and different things to accommodate the unique situations of the residents that we'll have. And oftentimes that means different children of different ages that we need to accommodate. So we've been super thankful for the various children's gifts and bedroom items that we have on our wish list that people have donated.
Something that we talk about at Dragonfly, and I'm not exaggerating when I say we talk about it all the time, is that it takes everybody playing a role to end human trafficking and to serve the victims of this crime. And really our transition home is a good example of that.
Yeah, so Melissa is talking specifically about an interior designer that we've used for a number of years to support the Dragonfly home. Ronette Wallace of Off the Wall Interiors volunteered to decorate this beautiful transition home, and we've just been so thankful for her. But she is an example of somebody who is so passionate about helping other people and using the skill set that she has, what she is good at, to benefit those people.
So everything that you've seen here, and also our crisis center, when you see videos and photos of that and how beautiful it all is,
Here we are in one of my favorite bedrooms. I just love all of the color in this room. This is one of my favorite cabinets. I love how this room especially highlights the unique features that Melissa was talking about earlier in our tour, and also highlights one of our philosophies at Dragonfly. We operate intentionally on a smaller service provision model so that individuals receive high quality services and they don't feel like just a number.
So evidence-based studies show that receiving care and services in a smaller, more community, home-like environment is actually the most effective way for someone to heal more quickly, more effectively, and maybe like for long-term healing. So we don't just have these rooms this way because we like stuff being cute. I mean, it's a nice bonus, but it's this way for a reason. This is going to be an environment where people receive services and care. So we are now in one of our 2 family rooms. Like Whitney was showing you earlier, some of our smaller rooms can be adapted for people who have a baby or a child, but it's actually not uncommon for people to come out of sex trafficking with several children. And so this is one of our larger family rooms. We've got 2 full-size beds here, and then got a trundle under here. So this room can really adapt for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I will say that this bedroom is my top favorite bedroom in the transition home. And this bed is super comfortable. It's actually been vetted by my newborn baby who took a nap in it.
So you know it's good.
It's high quality. It's approved.
Mm-hmm. But this is just such a comfortable, homey space where some kiddos are going to be able to have a more healthy environment to grow up in. And something that we say about Dragonfly a lot is that we're breaking the cycle of exploitation. So when children have a safer space, a more stable space to grow up in, and that already is helpful, but then we're helping their parent move into a sustainable, more stable life. And so this is just the first step of breaking abuse. So we are in our 2nd family room, and this is the last stop on our virtual tour of our forthcoming human trafficking transition home.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you will partner with us in opening the state's first ever human trafficking transition home.
This is history being made. We are pioneering services in our state that are desperately needed, that were requested by people that we serve, and by supporting this place, you are going to make a difference. There's just no way that you can't not make a difference when you support the transition home. That was a sentence, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. And so what we need you to do right now is look at the description of the video in the YouTube description box or the Facebook caption, and click on those links. So we have a link to our dream list where you can purchase specific items for this transition home, or if you want, you can just go to our donate page on our website and make a financial donation. Whatever you choose to do is going to make a difference right now, today. Welcome, Hallie.
Hello.
So if you're just joining us, or maybe you've been watching for a while, that was our virtual transition home tour. We mentioned a little while ago that because of the confidentiality of this space for the safety of the people that we serve, we don't give tours of this place. But we also wanted to give people the chance to really see it in some way. So Hallie helped us record that video so that you could see it with your own eyes. And of course, you're seeing it here now. Behind us. We got a couple of shout outs to give. Let's see here. We were joined by Glenda. Nice to see you.
Hi, Glenda.
I have it on good authority that she is a viewer in the Des Moines, Iowa area. I don't know how I would know such a thing. Very happy to have you here. I also noted during our video that I know that there's a little bit of lagging sometimes. I mean, that's just the That's just the internet, right?
Yeah.
That's just the internet world. But these videos, we're going to put them on our YouTube channel. And so you'll be able to watch them after this event. So Hallie, you are new to the Dragonfly team.
Yes, it definitely doesn't feel like it at this point.
No, it doesn't. You have done so much for us already. Yeah. You've been here a few months.
Yes, and it has been amazing. I am the outreach coordinator here at the Dragonfly home. So I do a lot of the things I have to do with our volunteers and doing community outreach, like actually going out and doing the trainings and the education about human trafficking, and also Dragonfly home and the services that we offer and provide.
Yeah. Hallie is an experienced public speaker, an excellent graphic designer. And that's just like, you just kind of happen to be good at that.
That just happened. I think a part of the job.
That was just like an answer to all of our prayers. She's like tossing out these different skills that are super helpful. So yes, you've been here a few months and made a big impact already. And so Hallie has a background in crime victim services.
Yes.
And so one thing I wanted to ask you about is why you are passionate about fighting human trafficking and serving victim survivors of this crime.
Yeah. So I got my degree at OSU OKC in crime victim survivor services. And so the program is very specific, training you to be an advocate for advocacy. So I didn't really see myself going into a more public speaking job, but that is here we are. But those skills definitely helped, and you learn so much about the different victimizations. So for me, the passion of human trafficking really comes from working in other areas and seeing that human trafficking is just so much more complex. The compound traumas and the things that the victim survivors that we work with deal with, the services and the needs of these people are much bigger than a lot of other populations of victimizations, just because human trafficking takes away the basis of being a human, turning someone into an object, removing an identity. So with that type of victimization, the effects and the needs that they have are so much greater, and just the specialized things that are needed. It has to be very tailored, very specialized. And so I think for me, it was just finding a place that I really saw needed an area of advocacy, of support, and then finding the Dragonfly home and seeing that this work is already being done. It was just a great fit, but I would definitely say that's where that passion comes from.
So if anyone here is interested in volunteering with Dragonfly, one of the opportunities that we are building right now is our community outreach team led by this wonderful woman. And so, yeah, so like I almost called you Whitney. I've been speaking with Whitney so much. Like Hallie was saying, we really need to reach our communities with this information. And so we need to reach people who maybe belong to populations that are disproportionately targeted by traffickers for exploitation, because we may be able to prevent that from happening, but we can also reach out to people who have experienced trafficking and let them know about our services, as well as people who love people who have experienced trafficking. So the more we can get the message out into the community, the better. And our community outreach team is a good fit for anyone who likes talking to people. And that includes someone who likes maybe working at an informational booth and having like some one-on-one conversations, all the way up to somebody who enjoys public speaking or somewhere in between.
Yes.
Because the community outreach team will prepare you to talk about trafficking, talk about Dragonfly, but also just grow your public speaking skills. And by public speaking, we really mean conversationally or speaking in front of people. We're not going to make anyone feel uncomfortable, but if you want to take some steps outside your comfort zone, it's a good place to do it.
Yeah, and there's definitely spots in every area to volunteer in community outreach team. Like Melissa was saying, we have, information booths. So that's going to be more one-on-one conversations. Or we may be going and giving presentations out in the community, maybe at schools, for like online safety training for kids, because we can give information about how recruiters are recruiting. So it really is a broad spectrum of how we can do community outreach team. And it really has a place for anyone who wants to be a part of that.
Yeah. And the transition home is something that we need to get the word out about. So we're not open quite yet, but we are, as I like to say, on the precipice. Because how often really do you get to use a word like precipice, not often enough. And so we are getting really close to opening. And so people are going to need to know about this place. And so we need people on our community outreach team, because it can't just be us. We need more people than just us.
Yes. And I think it's important for people to know too, because sometimes if you're not doing the work, you might not initially think about this.
Mhm.
But community outreach, aside from giving the education of who we are and what we do, for some people, that's the first step in them identifying that they were ever a victim survivor
That's
of
right.
trafficking.
Mhm.
Just having an understanding of what trafficking is and realizing that it is much broader than you may think.
Mhm.
And with all the misconceptions and things like that, to really get that out there on what this looks like and what this is can help people even just self-identify that
Yeah.
maybe this has happened to them, and they can then receive services.
Absolutely. Something that that is a little bit different about Dragonfly is that we do help people who are in I think the situation that a lot of us think about with trafficking. So imminent danger, needing to escape a situation, get out of a situation, maybe, maybe someone is trying to find them, but we will also provide services for someone like Hallie is describing. So we've helped people who have realized maybe decades later that they experienced trafficking, sometimes at the hand of their parent or a grandparent when they were children, or maybe like a high school boyfriend, that kind of thing. So they have that realization, and we're able to tailor services just for whatever someone needs and whatever point they're at in life. So so maybe community outreach is a good fit for you. You can check out our website volunteer page if you're interested.
Yes.
Way to give some plugs, Hallie. We have a new viewer. We want to say thank you to Christy. Thank you so much for joining us, Christy, and for your kind words. Very happy to have you here. So we have a couple more videos we want to share from people who have made a difference for the transition home. So far we have shared a video from Fletcher Ownby. We have shared a video about the Inasmuch Foundation. Next, I would really like to share a video where we spoke with Robert from Kimray. Do you want to introduce a little bit about what Kimray did while I pull up this video? This is what I made Whitney do.
Yes. So Kimray has been a big supporter of Dragonfly for pretty much
A few years now.
Yeah, for a few years, and especially with the entire getting ready with our transition home.
Yep.
You're going to learn a little bit more about it in this video of just a funny coincidence that happened that kind of led to their support of the transition home, and a big part of our big, beautiful space that we have in the backyard as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this video is with Robert from Kimray.
Nice job. Thank you so much, Robert, for taking the time to speak with us today. I'm here with Robert from Kimray, and Kimray has been a fantastic supporter of Dragonfly for several years now. And so we just wanted to take some time to talk about, why Kimray decided to support Dragonfly and why human trafficking is an important issue to this company.
Well, thank you, Melissa, and thank you to all of the staff that work so diligently and all the supporters who get behind Dragonfly, because when we became familiar with it at Kimray, you are stepping into a work that's very difficult. You're stepping into the pain, the trauma, the difficulty, and the loss where very few people even know to tread, and very people have the courage to tread. So for us as a corporation to come behind an organization like yours fulfills one of our core values, which is making a difference in the lives of the people around us. And you are making a difference. And if we can't personally serve, we'll find other ways that we can get behind what you're doing.
That is true. I mean, you all have found creative ways to support us from I'm going to definitely ask about the landscaping, but also you invite us, you do like community events, community trainings, you've invited us to those things. What we've seen is we met amazing people at your events who are doing all kinds of things in the community, and we start to see how we can all connect in so many different ways. So we've definitely seen that you all really carry out that mission. We've experienced it. So we're very thankful. So you had the opportunity to tour our transition home very early, when
Yes.
very few people will actually get a chance to visit, especially once we get trafficking victim survivors in there, then there's not going to be tours.
Right.
So just wanted to ask you, I think you saw it when, like, after our first phase of decoration. So what were your impressions of the transition home?
I was blown away. I was so impressed. I thought, now this is a home that I would like to live in.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's inviting, it's warm, it's healing, it's safe. All the things that your clients need, that home provides. And so from the moment you walk into the open spaces, and then as you explore the different rooms, the whole space was amazing. And I really appreciate the intentionality that the team put into creating that kind of environment. And so we're excited to see how that is another extension of the Dragonfly home, to be able to transition and help your clients find that healing and to get back on their feet.
Right. I appreciate you saying that, because that is our heart for the place and for everywhere that we serve trafficking victim survivors. We want it to feel exactly like you described. So it's super encouraging to hear that. And then Kim Ray played a role in landscaping our outdoor area.
Yeah, so that was fun. While we were there walking around, we went outside, and you have a beautiful property. You have space, and you were talking about how you were hoping to create this little garden area here, maybe some patio furniture there, so that people could have that outdoor experience. And I mean, I just know from my own personal life that when I get to sit outside and I'm hearing the birds and I'm getting some sunshine on me, and I'm maybe working in the garden, that's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
And so I knew that Kim Ray wanted to do something to help. And so when we saw that opportunity, that was immediately something that we said, hey, let's help you with that.
Yeah.
And then I just have to say, this was a God thing.
Yeah, this is a good story.
The next day, I had a phone call from a landscaping friend who said, Robert, if God brings upon you anyone who needs some help, one of your nonprofit partners that needs some landscaping help, would you let me know?
You're like, I got the people for you.
I think I know.
Right.
So it was a wonderful partnership, and so excited to see different people in the community coming around such an important work.
And I mean, imagine how encouraging that is for us. So when we know that we can't do what we do alone, but then, it's so moving after, so many years, more people in the community coming behind us to support us in ways that they can. And that's so highly specific to do landscaping. It's beautiful. I mean, it's so welcoming. It's a place where you want to sit outside and enjoy it. And I mean, we can't do that alone.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much just for the myriad ways that Kim Ray has supported us and for talking to us today.
Well, thank you, because you're going places that we can't go. You're doing things that we can't do, but there are other things that all of us can do. And so we just have to think, what do I have to bring to the table that can lend support?
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. It's always so nice to speak with Robert. He's always a very uplifting person. And so we now have this beautiful backyard area with a little garden and some beautiful patio furniture. Even on a day like today, where it's 1 billion degrees in Oklahoma City, it's still nice out there, especially now the sun's going down a little bit.
Yes.
And Hallie got the amazing opportunity to play a role in the overhaul of the backyard area.
Yes.
Was that one of your favorite days on the job?
It really was. It really was.
Would you say that you're a gardening expert?
Well, I think Robert said it best when he said that landscaping is a highly specific skill. And I just have learned that I think I have that skill after landscaping day.
You've learned so much about yourself already. Tell us a little bit about how it went that day.
Yeah, so we had pretty much the whole Dragonfly team here from all of our different sections of team members, and we all came together, as well as a landscaping company that was donating their time with us. And we got a prayer / meditation / quiet place, relaxation area with all kinds of plants and flowers where people can go and just have that moment to themselves.
To sit and breathe.
Yes, and it lots of love went into it. Truly a labor of love.
Lots of, hopefully not so much blood, but I was going to say blood, sweat, and tears.
Sweat and a few tears.
Definitely the sweat and tears.
It was probably the hottest day we could have done it.
Right? At least it's not now, right?
Yeah, that is true. But it is, looking out there makes it so worth it.
Yeah.
To see the finished product and that it's there, and just the patio, there's a fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the perfect community area, but also gives space for people to have their own space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very special now. A special edition. We didn't know if that was going to be something we would be able to have done right away. It seemed like the kind of thing that it would be nice to have, but maybe not a priority. But then Kim Ray just made it happen really quickly. And so now that we're getting ready to open, to have that space look so nice, I think it was actually a really critical part to having the place ready. Next, I would like to share a video featuring some people from Zonta Club of Central Oklahoma. There's an international organization called Zonta International, and it's a women's service organization. And this is a kind of organization that's been around for a really long time. I think that they may have founded maybe in the 1920s or something like that. And they champion causes for women all around the globe. And so that is everything from, trying to end violence against women to supporting women with educational scholarships. I mean, they do so much more than I could list. But right after we founded, the summer after we founded in 2016, we connected with the Zonta Club of Central Oklahoma. And the Zontians, that's what they call members of that club, became some of our longest term supporters. And so here it is. It was about exactly 6 years ago that they would have started supporting us. Before we had our certification, before we served a single person, we were just in the process of getting our first crisis center, just taking those initial steps. And they believed in us right from the beginning. They really believed in our intentional decoration, like we've been talking about tonight. And so their very first donation helped us purchase some nice couches for our very first tiny little crisis center that we still use to this day. And it was not only were the couches something that we really needed for the people we serve, but can you imagine what that meant to us to have that provided? And so now here it is, all these years later. When we told them that we were going to open this transition home, they were immediately very excited. They've given us grants every year throughout the years, but then they've also done some special projects. So not only did they give us a grant a few months ago for this place, but they decided that, they asked us what were some practical things that we needed. And so we said, well, how about some welcome kits? And so we're thinking a laundry basket with maybe a few toiletries, some bed linens in full size, towels, some basic things. We thought maybe a few of those to sort of kick things off. So they invited us to one of their meetings to feature us and to show their service project. And I was up there speaking, and I got up there and I noticed on the floor next to me maybe 4 or 5 laundry baskets filled with stuff. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And I got done and they're like, okay, we'll stay up there, Melissa, because we want to, talk with you a little bit. And they're like, well, we're going to go bring in the rest of the baskets. And I said, well, how many do you have? And they said, 21 baskets. I was like, 21? Oh God, we cannot take this right now because we do not have a vehicle to fit all of this stuff. And we had to arrange another meeting with them to get that, because it was just this generous outpouring. And so once again, these ladies just coming through, and this is just one example how we've had this outpouring of support from people, and it's been so incredible. And Whitney and I were talking about this earlier, if you're just hopping on, it's these items that make this place feel real.
Yeah.
like we have the decorations, and yeah, the place is pretty much set, but we need the little items that we all use daily, and we're getting those now. And so if you would like to emulate the Zontians, you can click the link in our YouTube description or the Facebook caption. We've got that dream list on there, which lists items that you can purchase through Walmart or Amazon. Whitney would want me to plug that it's Prime Day, right? Her face, she was very excited when she realized that this coincided with Prime Day. And you can look through our wish list and find practical items that we're all familiar with that you can donate. And then there are a couple of other items or options in there for you to give as well. So let me pull up my conversation with the Zonta Club of Oklahoma. Let's hear from them. Well, we are here at Dragonfly's brand new human trafficking transition home, and I'm with some very special friends from the Zonta Club of Central Oklahoma, and I really want to get their titles right, so I'm not even going to try. I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves.
I'm Elaine. I'm the president of the Zonta Club of Central Oklahoma.
Hi, I'm Connie. I'm the past president of the Zonta Club of Central Oklahoma.
And I'm Stephanie, the president-elect for Zonta Club of Central Oklahoma.
I mean, I'm in the presence of 3 presidents right now. It's truly an honor. I'm not the president of anything. Well, the Zonta Club of Central Oklahoma, I was just saying, I think is it's definitely one of our longest, if not the longest term supporter of the Dragonfly home. This club began supporting us just a few months after we founded in March of 2016, and they have just provided this unending support for everything that we have done for victim survivors of human trafficking in Oklahoma City, and we just love them very much. And so I think you were going to tell everyone a little bit about Zonta.
Sure. So the Zonta Club of Central Oklahoma is a member of Zonta International, where we work to build a better world for women and girls. Supporting efforts to stop human trafficking is one of the ways we do that. As a club, we first gained a huge awareness of the issue in 2007 at a conference that was held for Zonta District 10 here in Oklahoma City. Ever since then, we've been looking for ways to help fight human trafficking, and we're so thrilled when we came across the ladies at Dragonfly and have been just amazed to see what they have done to push this effort forward. Some of the ways we go about supporting them is we hold a golf tournament every year, and the money raised from that is part of what goes towards supporting them and our educational programs, as well as other like-minded organizations.
So the funds from Zonta, one thing I remember is at our very first Human Trafficking Crisis Center, you provided some first furnishings for our crisis center, a really nice set of couches and furniture. So one of our core values at Dragonfly is that whether we're providing residential or non-residential services, we want every place to feel like home. So Zonta played a hand in that right from the very start. And then fast forward to now, and their most recent grant to Dragonfly furnished about the second half of the bedrooms that we had here, including this one that you're seeing that we are in. And so, I mean, it's just so crucial for people who are recovering from the heavy trauma of trafficking to have such a beautiful, pleasant, homey place where they can stay as needed and gain some recovery, and then, you know, really work on goals for a sustainable future for their own home. I also wanted to highlight, you did a recent service project, and they donated just a ton of items. We were absolutely blown away. They asked what they could do, and so we said, well, maybe you could put together a few welcome kits. So everyone who comes to the transition home will receive their very own welcome kit with like sheets and stuff. Well, Stephanie's gonna talk about the items, but with all kinds of things that they can then keep with them forever. And these ladies were like, a few? No, we're gonna do more than just a few. So do you wanna talk about that?
Yes, sure. So our members came together and we put together welcome kits. For each kit contained sheets and toiletries, everything that a person will need when they first show up. Toothbrushes, toothpaste, journals, and so altogether we gave 21 welcome baskets.
21. when we saw that, we walked in, we were speaking to them, and I saw like maybe 3 or 4 where I was, and I was like, wow, that is so cool, look at that. And then they said there are more, and they just like brought in, it wasn't even all of them. There was so many, and so all of that is now distributed within our transition home. It is ready and waiting for people when they arrive. And I mean, this is the kind of support that we need. We have to have things like this. We can't do it all ourselves. And so we just want to say thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, we're proud to support you. We are.
I just love hearing from them. That was special. So it's just pretty amazing how this is all coming together.
Yeah, and I think it's another just like really cool thing to point out about that with like our welcome kits. She mentioned how these are things that get to keep forever. So although they're coming to the transition home and their time here isn't forever, they do have things that they'll get to keep with them and make theirs. And that is huge for us when working with victim survivors, because especially with the crime of trafficking, so much is stripped away, down to the identity being stripped away. And so to be able to start building on that even more and like give someone things that not only do they get to experience while they're here, but even little things that we might take for granted to have, in their possession that is theirs and is a part of something that just is another layer of us trying to help bring back that autonomy and just empower the people that we work with.
I love that. So I wanted to also share with you another story of a victim survivor that we have served here. A little while ago, we showed the story of Eva, and we, of course, her name and image are changed for the video. And, we talked about how Eva would have been a really good fit for the transition home. I would like to share the story. Krista, well, you'll see how Krista really would have been a good fit for Dragonfly. And I think her story represents the people who are eagerly awaiting for this program to open. There's no shortage of people who need our services here in Oklahoma City. And, Krista was somebody who was in a position to need a transition home because she had kind of come out of that crisis situation, had reached a certain type of stability, but really needed some support as she transitioned into an independent life. Of course, without the transition home, we do everything we can to make sure that someone has that support they need, but it's harder. And so this is going to, I think, just really ease a lot of people's minds, not having to figure out those situations, and is going to be a life changer for. And pull up Krista's story right now and show that to you. And just FYI, we're going to be showing our virtual transition home tour on the hour or thereabouts. So in a little while, probably in, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes or so, we're going to show that again if you missed it. And then also in the next hour, I'm going to show you a virtual tour of our crisis center, which was the program that kicked it all off. And you're going to get to see a little bit of that here in Krista's story as well. So I hope that you, when I say enjoy her story, I hope that you're able to recognize the strength, the resilience, the courage that Krista had, which represents traits that we see in all the people we serve, and that you're able to celebrate the good things that she was able to accomplish. the most amazing things we noticed about Krista when she came to Dragonfly was her determination. She was determined not to let the trauma of sex trafficking shape her future, and she was determined to create a different life for her little girl. Krista grew up witnessing her stepdad abuse her mom, and she watched as her mom turned to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain. But eventually, her mom became numb to everything, including her own daughter. So Krista spent most of her childhood feeling alone and abandoned. When Krista made it to high school, she discovered that she really enjoyed running. It gave her sort of a mental escape from the hard things she was just constantly facing at home. So she joined the track team, and for the first time in her life, she felt like she had something positive. But it was at this time, when Krista was 15 years old, that her stepdad realized that he could get a lot of money and drugs by selling Krista for sex. Her mom turned a blind eye as he started bringing men to their home every day who paid to have sex with Krista. Krista felt completely trapped. She eventually dropped out of school, and being sold for sex in her own home, day in and day out, became her entire life. It was when Krista discovered that she was pregnant that she realized, for the sake of her child, she couldn't stay in that situation anymore. But she knew if she got caught trying to escape, there would be violent consequences. She also had no idea where she would go. She didn't know where she would sleep or get food, but she knew she had to try to get away. So she watched and she waited for her perfect opportunity, and one night her moment came. She gathered every ounce of courage she had, and she ran away. Krista ended up at a homeless shelter where she found safety for a few days. And that's where she spotted some materials about human trafficking and realized that's what had happened to her. She did a Google search and she found the Dragonfly home. And with such incredible bravery, she called our 24-hour human trafficking helpline. This is the moment where everything in Krista's life changed. At the Dragonfly home, we walk alongside the victim survivors of human trafficking we serve on their path to restoration and provide whatever they need to build a new life. We received certification from the Oklahoma Office of the Attorney General in November 2016. Since then, we've served over 500 victim survivors of sex trafficking or labor trafficking at our Human Trafficking Crisis Center in Oklahoma City. We've also fielded over 5,000 calls from people like Krista on our 24-hour human trafficking helpline. After speaking with a Dragonfly advocate, Krista started participating in our services at our Human Trafficking Crisis Center. The first thing we did was coordinate Krista's emergency needs, so making sure she had access to safe, appropriate housing and food and clothing, and we also helped her apply for certain benefits. Krista expressed during this time that the emotional support she received from Dragonfly was so important, and that encouragement helped her continue moving forward. One of Krista's top priorities was the health of her unborn child, so we arranged for her to receive prenatal care.
she got her first ultrasound and found out she was having a little girl. It was at this moment when Krista realized she truly had broken the cycle of abuse and exploitation she'd experienced in sex trafficking. She was creating a different kind of future for her daughter. Today, Krista and Violet are living in their own home, and Krista has earned her GED and is working to save money for college. They still come to Dragonfly for case management and support, and Krista is as determined as ever to build a healthy, sustainable, independent life for her and her little girl. Krista and her little girl are why Dragonfly exists. We believe every victim survivor of human trafficking deserves freedom and the opportunity to pursue a new life. Everyone who gives to Dragonfly gets to be a part of this mission, making it possible for victim survivors of human trafficking like Krista and their children get the help they need to break the cycle of exploitation and create a future of freedom.
So something that I thought about with this video that we could talk about is how our non-residential human trafficking crisis center will flow into our services here at the transition home. So something we like to say is that the crisis center is really the heartbeat of our organization. It's kind of our hub. And then we're adding onto those services with this residential layer. So like you just saw in Krista's story, and then earlier in Eva's story, everything that we offer at Dragonfly goes through that crisis center. So that's where the case management happens. That is where people come for support groups to get connected to our many partners in the community that provide services that they specialize in, like medical care, legal assistance, tattoo removal, hairstylists, and people who help with job applications and clothing for the workplace. They get their connection to those services there. And so the people who come here to the transition home will get the residential part here, but they will also be able to participate in those services at the crisis center.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most important things to highlight too, is that while we're talking about our transition home and all the things here that people are going to experience, like they will have access to all of those services that we talk about with our crisis center.
Mm-hmm.
And with human trafficking having such specific needs, the team that we have working at the crisis center is just amazing. The amount of care and love truly in their hearts for the work that they do is amazing to see. And when you see in the video we're going to have of the crisis center, it's going to kind of go through some of the different things we offer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to keep in mind that there's some needs that you may not even have thought are needed for this population, that you don't really know until you're in it.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, we need these things.
Right.
So that's what I think the crisis center definitely provides for.
I agree. So that's an interesting thing that you point out, Hallie. I can talk about a few of those and let me know if you think of some as well. So something that I never would have thought about in serving trafficking victim survivors is the need for hairstylists. So when someone is in a trafficking situation, all choice is usually stripped away entirely. So that includes a choice of when someone eats, when someone sleeps, what someone does at any given moment in the day, but also physical appearance. So traffickers, like we've said, it's a business. They view the human beings they exploit as product. And so they will shape the appearance of that product in the way that fits the demand. And it's gross to talk like that, but it's just the facts, right? So when someone comes to Dragonfly, part of empowering someone with their choice of how they live is how do they want to style their hair? And also they might have been given a very distinctive hair color or something like that could make them easy to spot. So they get to choose. They get to wipe the slate clean. So when they're looking in the mirror, they get to see something that they chose for themselves. And so we work with several hairstylists who specialize in different hair types, who are incredible people and are trauma informed and encouraging to the people we serve. But that never would have occurred to me
Yeah.
prior to
And
this.
for me, one of the biggest ones was when we talk about kind of if there's something that someone needs, we will find a partnership and we will find a way to provide it. And so one of those is a partnership that we have with a tattoo removal company. Basically, the reasoning behind this is many people who are in trafficking get some type of tattoo as a sort of brand, not by choice. They were forced to get it. It may be a name, it may just be a word, whatever that may be, that was branded to them so that the person who is selling them, it's a way to claim ownership, a way to identify that this is my product, this is my business, and this is what I'm selling. And one of the big things is making someone feel, that they are in full control again and that they have their humanity again and their identity back. And so these tattoo removal people that we work with, they offer their services to remove these brandings. And so it's something that you may have never even thought about until you really understand all of these little intricacies that go into the victimization of human trafficking beyond just the actual selling, but all the other parts that go into it, like the branding.
And then also what it means to get a fresh start. So something we talk about is just someone getting out of a trafficking situation isn't the end of the impact of that situation, because we're talking about every aspect of someone's life being impacted by this. And so helping them to restore, like Holly is saying, all those little intricacies, and a fresh start involves so much. And so thank you for pointing that out. And that's one of the reasons why we do form partnerships. We're going to find a way to provide what someone needs for their fresh start. And it's interesting, even though we do this work every day, I don't always get the chance to sit down for 3 hours at a time and just talk about all of this in a conversational way. And it's really nice to just have the chance to sit and chat with all of you about all of this. Something I wanted to offer is if anyone has questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. I don't know, we may not have time to get to all of them, but we can do our best. And so now it is the top of the hour. And so I thought that we could go ahead and show our virtual tour. If you've been here since the beginning, you may be thinking, well, this is the third time I'm seeing this. Well, I understand. But there are people who are hopping in and out, on and off, in and out, on and off.
And it's beautiful. You want to see it.
Why wouldn't you want to see it for a third time? Exactly. It just makes sense. But this is the housewarming party for this space.
Yes.
And Hallie put a lot of work into editing that video as well. So we're going to go ahead and show that. And then in a little while, we'll show the tour of the crisis center. And then that really gives you a pretty comprehensive idea of our locations and the types of services that we offer. So here we go. I'm firing it up. Here's a virtual tour of our transition home.
We wanted to point out some of our favorite parts of the transition home, and honestly, this kitchen is the heart of the home. This is going to be a very special place where so many women and their children build incredible memories. So I am super thankful to say that we've already gotten several things from our wish list for this home. This KitchenAid mixer is part of that. We also have coffee pots and seasonings and a Ninja and coffee mugs, some dishes, things like that. We still need some additional things. So if you're interested in donating, check out the link to the dream list in the video description. But I mean, this is happening. It's real. People who've donated already are really making this into a working home. Absolutely. And you nailed it, Melissa. We've been working on opening this home and working on this project, making sure that we pay attention to every single detail. And honestly, things coming in from our supporters, from our donors, it makes it real. Yeah, absolutely. And every single gift I look at and I think, wow, this is how a survivor is going to use it. Or absolutely. This is an aspect of the home that's going to help bring joy and build autonomy.
Right. Well, think about your kitchen at your home. If you have family or friends over, standing around having coffee, or people keeping you company while you're cooking, like that's the kind of thing that people who we serve, maybe they haven't had that opportunity, but those are the moments that make life so rich, and so you're really helping that happen here.
Yeah, and also I might add that food is truly my love language, so this is a very special place for me.
The food happens here.
Yeah.
You're making that possible. Welcome to our community area, living room, dining room combo. This is, it's just a beautiful place in our transition home.
I see so much laughter happening here and just the sound of hope, the sound of community. We really are not meant to do life alone. And so what I've heard from so many survivors over the years is that they want so desperately to build relationships with people who've been through similar things, that have had similar experiences. And like, this is the setting to do that, to watch movies and to have fun and to just hang out.
Play games, spend time with people, relax. Things that I think a lot of us take for granted when we're in our homes and we're able to just settle in and take a break from the rest of the world. And so this offers a beautiful environment that we all love spending time in, and people that we serve will enjoy. One of the key elements of the transition home is providing an opportunity for the people we serve to pursue goals in life. It's a transition home, and so by definition, this is a place where people can, they've come out of a crisis situation but need a little bit more support to move into an independent and sustainable life. And so that requires certain goals that people will set for themselves. This room is a big part of it.
So exactly, Melissa. And I see people that live here utilizing this room for very important things to gain autonomy. And that looks like maybe building resumes or researching employment opportunities, taking online classes, doing virtual doctor or other appointments.
Yeah.
This is just a really special room that will provide a safe space for the people that live here. Here we are in the multi-purpose room of the transition home. People who live here will be able to use this room for a multitude of activities. One purpose being kind of a little kids area. As we mentioned before, we do serve women who've survived labor and sex trafficking, but also their children. So this will be a very important space. We will also have a yoga studio, a workout area, and a relaxation area.
Something that we recognize at Dragonfly is that healing is a holistic journey. It's not just about therapy all the time and constantly going to the doctor and focusing just on the bad things. It's about living life, building life, and discovering things. And like Whitney was saying, like, you heal through all sorts of different ways. So maybe for some people that might include meditation or prayer. For some people it could be yoga. For some people, working out. So we want to provide a space that can accommodate people. Everyone's different, so accommodate people in the different ways that healing makes a difference for them. So far you have seen our kitchen, our multi-purpose room, our community room, and now we have laundry room. Every single room at the transition home is important. A lot of people that we serve haven't had the opportunity to learn how to do laundry and other types of life skills. This is just one of the kind of things that traffickers steal from people when they exploit them in trafficking. And so we've got this really nice, bright laundry room where people can learn how to do laundry. And that is part of what makes life sustainable. So one of the things that we have on our dream list are towel and washcloth sets. And look, we have received some of them. We do need quite a few more for all the people that we serve, but to those who have donated, thank you. And if you would like to donate some towels and washcloths, then you can click the link in the description for our dream list, toss them into a little cart, and send them. Now we're going to take you through the bedrooms that we have in the transition home. Each one has its own distinct style and personality, but this one is extra special because it has a special dedication.
Yeah, prior to founding the Dragonfly home,
myself and other staff had the opportunity of working with a very special young woman who had been trafficked most of her life. And so in working with this young lady and learning about her story and learning about the services she needed, she truly was one of the inspirations behind wanting to open a transition home, behind seeing the need for that. And so this room will be dedicated to her. Part of the philosophy of the Dragonfly home is that we want to offer services in a super comfortable, trauma-informed environment where the people that we serve feel welcome and at peace, and they recognize that they deserve the very best despite what traffickers have told them. And so it's just so important to the Dragonfly home to have high quality decor and things that create comfort and peace in a bedroom.
Yeah, so rather than a setting where all the rooms are pretty much the same, we really wanted to add a lot of personality, which is why you will see every single room has different decor, different features, are a little bit different. Some rooms have a sitting area, and so that fosters community, a place where someone can journal or read. Again, it's just about a space where someone can just breathe and be, and that is so important in the healing. We are in another one of our transition home bedrooms. I would just like to point out for myself that this bedspread is my favorite, and I also love this art piece, and I would have them in my own home, and I love them very much. But also we wanted to show how these rooms are adaptable to the needs of the people that we serve.
Yeah, we have a number of bassinets and cribs and different things to accommodate the unique situations of the residents that we'll have. And oftentimes that means different children of different ages that we need to accommodate. So we've been super thankful for the various children's gifts and bedroom items that we have on our wish list that people have donated.
Something that we talk about at Dragonfly, and I'm not exaggerating when I say we talk about it all the time, is that it takes everybody playing a role to end human trafficking and to serve the victims of this crime. And really our transition home is a good example of that.
Yeah, so Melissa is talking specifically about an interior designer that we've used for a number of years to support the Dragonfly home. Ronette Wallace of Off the Wall Interiors volunteered to decorate this beautiful transition home, and we've just been so thankful for her. But she is an example of somebody who is so passionate about helping other people and using the skill set that she has, what she is good at, to benefit those people.
So everything that you've seen here, and also our crisis center, when you see videos and photos of that and how beautiful it all is.
Here we are in one of my favorite bedrooms. I just love all of the color in this room. This is one of my favorite cabinets. I love how this room especially highlights the unique features that Melissa was talking about earlier in our tour, and also highlights one of our philosophies at Dragonfly. We operate intentionally on a smaller service provision model so that individuals receive high quality services and they don't feel like just a number.
So evidence-based studies show that receiving care and services in a smaller, more community, home-like environment is actually the most effective way for someone to heal more quickly, more effectively, and maybe for long-term healing. So we don't just have these rooms this way because we like stuff being cute. I mean, it's a nice bonus, but it's this way for a reason. This is going to be an environment where people receive services and care. So we are now in one of our 2 family rooms. Like Whitney was showing you earlier, some of our smaller rooms can be adapted for people who have a baby or a child, but it's actually not uncommon for people to come out of sex trafficking with several children. And so this is one of our larger family rooms. We've got 2 full-size beds here, and then got a trundle under here. So this room can really adapt for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I will say that this bedroom is my top favorite bedroom in the transition home. And this bed is super comfortable. It's actually been vetted by my newborn baby who took a nap in it.
So you know it's good.
It's high quality. It's approved.
Mm-hmm. But this is just such a comfortable, homey space where, some kiddos are going to be able to have a more healthy environment to grow up in. And something that we say about Dragonfly a lot is that we're breaking the cycle of exploitation. So when children have a safer space, a more stable space to grow up in, and that already is helpful, but then we're helping their parent move into a sustainable, more stable life. And so this is just the first step of breaking abuse. So we are in our second family room, and this is the last stop on our virtual tour of our forthcoming human trafficking transition home.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you will partner with us in opening the state's first ever human trafficking transition home.
This is history being made. We are pioneering services in our state that are desperately needed, that were requested by people that we serve, and by supporting this place, you are going to make a difference. There's just no way that you can't not make a difference when you support the transition home. That was a sentence, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. And so what we need you to do right now is look at the description of the video in the YouTube description box or the Facebook caption, and click on those links. So we have a link to our dream list where you can purchase specific items for this transition home, or if you want, you can just go to our donate page on our website and make a financial donation. Whatever you choose to do is going to make a difference right now, today. Something that I want to highlight is how this place is going to serve children. Mm-hmm. So we specialize in our certification is for serving adult victims of the crime of human trafficking. And we will serve people basically age 15 and up. If they're under the age of 18, of course, working with the proper state agencies for that. But children are served through Dragonfly when their parents are served through Dragonfly. So quite a few people come to Dragonfly with children, or some are pregnant. Often that has happened because of sex trafficking. And so pregnant by a sex purchaser or a sex trafficker. We've had women come to us with quite a few children, and those kids need help as well. And I mean, it makes sense, right? Because you can't serve a parent and they're concerned about their children and not serve the kids as well. But then also by helping a parent heal, gain restoration, gain freedom, have the tools to build a sustainable life, that means that those children and their entire futures are impacted as well. So not only are they growing up outside of a trafficking situation rather than growing up in that, but they are far more likely to have a more stable life and have fewer adverse childhood experiences that can create a pretty vulnerable situation for someone to be targeted by predatory people, and instead have positive memories, go to school, have more success in those areas of life that set us up well for the future.
And I think that's really important to point out what you were saying, that, you know, our whole thing, especially my side coming from community outreach and the education that we do, is just that, you know, traffickers prey on vulnerabilities. Mm-hmm. And so by us creating this safe space and not only serving, you know, their parents, but being able to provide a stable, comfortable, you know, environment where they're getting to be an environment maybe with other kids.
That's right.
And so all of it really does work together when you're thinking about it, because when we create this environment and are fostering this, you know, we're getting rid of some of those vulnerabilities that they're having. And that is just helping break that cycle of abuse and, you know, break the cycle of them being potentially targeted by a trafficker.
Yeah, it can make all the difference in someone's life. So that is, it's a real honor
And I just want to reiterate that anyone who supports Dragonfly, you're a part of that as well. Breaking the power of trafficking, breaking the cycles of exploitation, impacting future generations. When you like your participation with us is, it's so impactful in so many different ways.
Yeah, and there's so many ways too, I think is what's so important as well. Like earlier we were discussing some of our different partnerships and talking about, you know, hairstylists and tattoo removal. Those are such specific things, but it's just, they're specific things that we need to help serve the victim survivors that we serve.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if there are any things beyond, you know, the financial stuff as well, those type of skills and things like that are also so helpful to us. And the partners that we have that are providing those services are also directly impacting the people that we're going to serve here and that we're already serving at the crisis center.
Yeah. And some other examples of that are, so we partner with lawyers, just individual attorneys who want to give pro bono services to help people that we serve. And that can include people who specialize in family law, immigration law, criminal defense, sometimes things you might not expect, like tax law. We need people who have those skills to provide those services. Physical therapists, massage therapists, chiropractors, doctors, the list goes on. Therapists who specialize in trauma-focused therapy, people who give out of their skill set or their profession. I mean, it makes what we do possible.
And I mean, we do all kinds of things, even if we do like a craft night. With the victim survivors we're serving, maybe it's somebody who really enjoys, you know, making different things and wants to do like a workshop class.
Or like,
No, you just things like that you may not even think that that's something that that donation of time and skill is also so valuable to us.
Things like nutrition, yoga, people who come in and will lead a yoga class, teach nutrition, teach about cooking, life skills like how to balance a checkbook and budget, you know, that kind of thing. It's all super helpful.
Yeah.
Well, I have promised for a while now that I would share a tour of our Human Trafficking Crisis Center. So even though this is the housewarming party, I'm welcoming you to the housewarming party. There we go. For the transition home, like we've been talking about, the crisis center, it all flows together. All of those services go together. And one thing that you might, if you've watched the virtual housewarm or the virtual transition home tour once, twice, or 3 times at this point, then you'll be able to see when we go through the crisis center how there's like a similar vibe. And so this interior decorator or designer that we have mentioned a few times, Ronette Wallace of Off the Wall Interiors, she put together the design for both places. And I mean, you'll be able to definitely see a consistency with those two. Well, I'm not finding it. Would you like to talk about something while I find this video?
Yeah, I think still talking about the crisis center and just the fact that people are going to have full access to those services. I just want to stress like how important that is to us that we're able to open this to do that and provide those full services. Because even though the crisis center, it's going to go through all the programs and services we offer, the transition home was the #1 requested thing that was needed. And so I think it's just so cool to be able to almost see it all come together. And the fact that we have all these services and we have all these programs, and now the #1 thing that was asked for, we finally have that.
Absolutely.
And so I just think that that's so cool to see all of these services come together into one. And you can also see in this video, you can kind of pick out where different, like we were just talking about skills and partners that we have, you'll be able to hear about those in this as well and kind of see exactly what we're talking about in the type of partnerships that we're making.
And something else we'd like to point out is that we actually attended a meeting for different crime service providers throughout the state of Oklahoma. And something that they told us is that transitional housing was like the top need for victims of all types of crimes. And so it was really cool to know that we were sort of already on the road to providing that. So those are fun things to point out. Okay, now I have pulled up our crisis center tour. It was not where I thought it was going to be, but here we go. We're gonna look at that, and this is also available on YouTube for us as well. We're going to take you on a tour of our Human Trafficking Crisis Center. This is the second building we've been in. Our first building, we were there for about a year and a half, and it was a great first step for us. But we grew out of that place very quickly with the volume of people who need our in-person services. So we moved to this building. We've expanded several times. And since our certification, we've been able to serve hundreds of victim survivors of sex trafficking or labor trafficking of all genders, adults and juveniles. So now we're going to show you the areas where we provide services for these individuals.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dragonfly Home Human Trafficking Crisis Center. Right now we're in one of our advocacy rooms, and in this very room we have staff that field hotline calls on our 24-hour human trafficking hotline. Now this hotline is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And since being founded and receiving certification from the Oklahoma Office of the Attorney General, we have literally fielded thousands of hotline calls on this hotline. So who exactly calls our hotline? We have all kinds of calls, you all. This could be from survivors who are in need of urgent assistance. We have calls from law enforcement, other frontline professionals like medical care professionals, social workers, mental health professionals, and we also get calls from the community who are wanting to know more about trafficking. So on these calls and through this very important program at the Crisis Center, we're able to provide things like emotional support, crisis intervention, referrals, and even make next steps and plans for survivors who qualify for our services.
This room serves multiple functions. So first of all, we will have different activities for survivors who we serve. That can include something like a pizza party. It can include support groups. It can include art activities, art therapy. And this table works out really well for that. So part of our philosophy at Dragonfly is it's not just about the delivery of services. It's also about celebrating each person, starting to build positive experiences and positive memories. And there have been so many memories like that in this room. So people gather around this table enjoying a delicious Thanksgiving feast that was donated. People gathering around here to do some fun like painting activities, and they're choosing colors and there's glitter available and we're enjoying pizza together. It sounds so simple, right? The kind of things that we take for granted in life, but individuals who we serve might not have those memories, but by coming to Dragonfly, they get a chance to build positive memories.
Now we are in our client resource room. This is a room that's still under construction, but has been requested by so many of the clients that we serve. This room meets the need for clients who are applying for jobs, they are building their resumes, they are studying for school, getting their GEDs, or even studying in college classes. So we are excited to be able to provide this critical space for so many of the people that we serve.
So one thing that we keep on supply here at Dragonfly is an array of backpacks or go bags that we can give people who we serve. There are numerous reasons why these are super important. So people will arrive here and they have nothing but the clothes on their back. Somebody comes to us and they're in complete crisis. They will receive one of these bags and it's full of toiletries, things that somebody needs. So things that will just make you feel better, right? Get you to a better mental space for whatever next steps are needed. So things like a hairbrush or toothpaste, deodorant, we'll have shampoo, soap, lotion. Survivors will be able to choose footwear, a new set of clothing. We've got that on site, and all of that will go into the backpack that they get to take with them. Sometimes when people arrive at Dragonfly, they're in imminently dangerous situations. So that can mean that their trafficker is looking for them to either regain control or do further harm. And so it's not safe for them to stay in the Oklahoma City area. So when they come to Dragonfly,
We are going to safety plan with these individuals, figure out what's the safest way to take next steps.
We have this super cute little welcome area because we know that the people who come to us often come to us without having had any food. They're very stressed out, they're exhausted, and the first thing they want to do is get something to snack on or something to drink. But moreover, this is a good and easy way to empower survivors to make small choices after living a life or having been controlled by a trafficker for so many years, right? They get to choose what they want to eat and drink, and they're in control of this small thing while they're here at the Dragonfly home.
But all of this place where we serve people, it just is, we decorated it to feel like a home. That's why we have that word in our name, because even though the services that we provide here are non-residential, you know, this looks like a living room. This is a place where you can come, you can grab a blanket, you can curl up, you can have a snack, you can talk with people. We have support groups here and activities in this area. All of our therapy rooms look like living rooms. And I'll tell you that we've gotten really great feedback from people we serve. They walk in here and people will look around and say, wow, their first impression often is that it's really cute in here. It's cute, it's homey, it's peaceful, and it's a place where a lot of people we serve have said they actually enjoy coming.
There are so many times that Dragonfly receives a call on the hotline at 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. And that can be from a survivor themselves who needs to be recovered out of an active trafficking situation, or even a call from law enforcement where they've done an operation and they have intercepted a survivor from a trafficking situation. When those situations happen, a lot of times survivors need, first of all, clothing, toiletries, food, but the most common request is coming to take a shower, right? We recognize that the individuals who are coming directly out of trafficking situations have often, honestly, just have had sex with commercial sex purchasers. They have just come out of an active labor trafficking situation in squalid conditions, in unsafe work environments, and a hot, warm shower really is the very beginning of them coming out of this situation and starting over.
This is our beautiful, whimsical kids' room. We love this room. So bright and colorful. A lot of kids will come with a parent while the parent is coming to the Relief and Restoration Center to receive services. And so they can come into this room and all kinds of activities. We've got books, we've got a craft area where they can color. I know that one young one who came here very much enjoyed discovering Play-Doh for the first time here and might have made a little bit of a mess, and we loved it because this little kid was having fun and got to, in a hard time in their parents' life, really just escape, have some fun, get to be a kid, and actually discover something that they hadn't tried before.
This is one of our therapy rooms at the Dragonfly home. I think so many people kind of wonder, what do you do at the Crisis Center? And I think two of the most important services that we provide here at the Crisis Center are specialized intensive case management and also trauma-focused therapy, right? These are services that individuals need after having been trafficked to be able to start making decisions and start building their own futures. And I'll give one example of a young lady that we served here in this therapy room, and I'll just call her Emily for the purpose of this tour. Emily was actually trafficked by her mom for at least 2 years, and Emily was placed with a safe guardian, but that wasn't the end of her trafficking story. She needed so much more, and so she came to the Dragonfly home, didn't need shelter, but certainly needed trauma-focused therapy. She needed case management, court advocacy assistance, and so many of the other services that we provide right here in this room.
I hope that you enjoyed that tour of our crisis center. It was interesting because before it, I was saying, if you watch carefully, you'll see the commonalities of the decor. And then I watched carefully and I thought, wow, you really can't see the consistencies in the decor. Yeah. And how we have that vibe. And I think you can see how, whether we're giving residential or non-residential services, we still want every place to feel like home, because it's so much nicer to receive help. And it's actually proven by evidence-based studies that that is the most effective setting for receiving assistance, especially when dealing with such trauma like the people we serve do.
Yeah, and I think especially with the people that we serve, some of the situations that they come out of and the places that they have been forced to live, whether it was their choice or not, to be able to come to a place that truly is a home. When you walk in here, you feel it. You feel just the support. I guess that would be the best word, because you feel not only are you in a physically safe place, but you have people who are safe and people who are truly supporting these victim survivors on every single step on their path.
So important. Yeah. Well, one way that you can help and get involved and make this place fully ready to open, which we will soon, is by checking out the different links that we have in the YouTube description, the Facebook caption. We've got a few options for you there. If you are feeling this tug on your heart, you want to take action with a cause like human trafficking, which feels so humongous. This is a very tangible, practical, easy way to get involved. So first of all, you can check out our dream list and click on the Walmart and Amazon lists. It is Prime Day. Prime Day for Amazon, I think until midnight tonight.
Yep.
I don't know midnight where tonight, but we've got a few hours basically. And check those out. And those are very practical daily items, but stuff that we need to have here to make our home a working home. You can also just give a financial donation if that seems best to you. And then if you are interested, you can sponsor a room here. And there's a description there. So for example, it says single room. So if you've seen one of the 3 times that we have given the virtual tour of this place, there are single rooms and then there are those bigger family rooms. And so those have different price points. The life skills room include places like our resource room where people can study, attend online classes, do online medical appointments or online therapy. Our laundry room, our multi-purpose room, that's what the life skills rooms are. And then you can also sponsor this living room.
Beautiful.
It's just ripe for it's ready. What am I trying to say? It's ready for the sponsorship.
It's ready for the sponsorship.
Right.
It's sitting here waiting for a beautiful plaque with your name to go on it.
Yeah, you get a plaque. You get a really cute, nice little plaque. It's true. So check those out. I cannot believe that it's already almost
time has flown. I feel like when we start talking about it, both of us just get passionate and that time is just gone.
I could go for longer. I'm not going to, but we could. One of the last things that we wanted to share are some additional people who have made a difference. So first, I'm just going to show a little video with their names. It's just a short little thing. Oh, if I can get my mouse to work. There we go. So here are some people. So I'm going to tell some stories about these folks. So Edmond Santa Fe High School, for their Double Wolf Dare Week, made a huge impact for us. The Sarkeys Foundation, if you live in Oklahoma City, you've seen the name Sarkeys Foundation. They do so much good in the community. Simple Modern is a local company that will tell you a little bit more about how they have been supporting us recently. And then finally, the Gaylord Foundation. There again, their name is everywhere because they are such a passionate organization for supporting all kinds of good work in our community. So we are so thankful for all of those individuals, all of those foundations and those companies. So Sarkeys and Gaylord have both supported Dragonfly for years. They have been totally on board with our growth. We have expanded our programs. So like, for example, the Crisis Center, we expanded our Crisis Center twice within 3 years because the need was so great. We had to expand our physical locations and then also our programming to meet the needs of people who were coming. And it takes a lot of resources to expand. And so both Sarkeys and the Gaylord Foundation played a huge role with their grants to enable us to do this. And then they have also contributed specifically to this transition home. We're so thankful. Simple Modern is a local company here in Oklahoma that produces, well, they have a lot of different types of products, but you'll find things like beautifully crafted backpacks, for example, and travel gear. But I think what they're probably best known for is their drinkware,
which is amazing. Your ice will stay ice for 24 hours.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they mean business. If you get one of these ones that really seals, it's pretty incredible. So I will have my Simple Modern mug in my car when it's a bajillion degrees outside, and it stays pretty cool. It's amazing. But also, take a look at that. See that? You can see the shine on there because of the light. So Simple Modern donated these beautiful stainless steel, double insulated cups. And they have our awesome logo on them engraved. So they donated these, to Dragonfly, and how we made use of them was in our recent Freedom Flight Crew monthly donor drive. So Freedom Flight Crew members are people who give monthly to Dragonfly at any amount. And recently we had a drive where if people joined at $19 or more a month, they got one of these. And I can tell you that I specifically know people who joined it. Sure, they were glad to give to us monthly, but they really wanted this. They're like, yes, please. And then also some people, we had a deal where people who are currently giving monthly, if they increased it by a certain percent, they could get one. This was very motivational for people. So thank you so much to Simple Modern. They make such cool stuff here. I have another one here. This is just a regular type one that I have.
Oh, yeah, they're beautiful.
It's so pretty.
They have literally every kind of color. They have all kinds of gradient patterns that are just beautiful.
Yeah, and tons of different sizes too. So we love Simple Modern, and they also have donated to Dragonfly as well for the transition home. They get their employees very involved. Employees volunteered for the landscaping day. We're going to have another volunteer session here in a few weeks, actually, with them. They're going to do some stuff to help prepare us for our gala. And then the employees can also give back. And so they've done that a few times. So we're super thankful. And then finally, I want to tell the story about some of the very first supporters of our transition home were a group of high school students from Edmond, Oklahoma, from Edmond, Santa Fe. If you're from the Oklahoma City area, you may have heard of this. If not, Edmond is a northern suburb of Oklahoma City, and they have a tradition at all 4 of their high schools where they will do a fundraising week every year. And so it is a big deal. They raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for local charities. And so we had the incredible honor of being chosen by Edmond Santa Fe High School for their Double Wolf Dare Week, which took place in February of 2021. They call it a week, but it was a month of incredible fundraising events. It was at the height of the pandemic. There were also unprecedented blizzards in Oklahoma during the exact time when they were trying to fundraise. So these kids were out. They had their own silent auction. I was blown away. So during that week, they had a silent auction. They're out driving in blizzard conditions to get the items for the silent auction. It was during that incredible cold snap that we all experienced here. But they were such troopers. They had this beautiful silent auction. And then they had a week of events. They had fundraising all throughout the school day that we didn't even see. Different groups of students would just kind of form a group, and then they would fundraise. And then every night they had these huge events in their gymnasiums that were like spectacles every single night. There was like this lip sync night, and like where all of the groups of the high school boys from each class put on these very elaborate performances. What else did they do? They had a band night, like where the band performed. They had like a royalty type deal where they were voting on. I can't even tell you. This also been over a year ago, but it was all so overwhelming in the best way possible. I got to go to most of those events, and it was so much fun. And so then the week culminated with the big reveal of what they had fundraised. And first of all, before I talk about that, the students who led this thing they were doing professional level work. Their dedication was amazing. They're these great public speakers, and they ran these events seamlessly. And it was such an incredible pleasure to work with them. And then I'm going to try and pull up this video because it was so fun. So on the very last day, it culminated in this huge reveal of the amount of money that they raised. And again, they faced unprecedented challenges. And we could just not have been prouder of them. So let me see if I can get this video pulled up here for you to see. Let me just double check here that you're seeing it. Okay, there we go. So they did this awesome deal here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, your very total is $123,627.
That was one of the coolest moments of Dragonfly and probably my life. You saw like the awesome effect that they did just with that reveal, right? And that was just for that part. They put so much work into everything. And that was an enormous amount of money that it was for the transition home. We specifically asked for that, and they were so on board. They made the connection with how human trafficking impacts people their age. They were so savvy and asked such good questions. Just the most we're talking about their entire student council. Gave me a lot of hope for the future generation who's going to be leading our country and our world someday. And they were amazing, and they worked so hard. And so that was a sum of money that we had to do what was needed to prepare this place and make it ready for the people we serve. It was just truly, it was like the big kickoff to when we were really able to get this transition home ready. So can't overstate the good that they did.
And especially, I think what makes it really special too is seeing that it is high school students.
Yeah.
For being on community outreach and knowing that, public education and awareness and trainings are so important to us, especially to kids that are high school age. To see them already champion this cause without even, this wasn't, we went and spoke and then this happened. They just did it.
Yeah.
And I think that is what's so amazing. And it just really symbolizes, I think, a lot of our work and that you see how resilient they were with all the things that they faced just in that fundraising.
Yeah.
And so I just, again, thank you, Edmond Santa Fe.
Yes. We're about 10 minutes away from 9:00, and I think that this has been a pretty amazing night. We have had, thank you to everyone who has been watching this whole time. It's been super fun to sit and talk to you about this, just inspiring and really refreshing and exciting to see the number of people who are on board for this kind of service in our community. Something, so like Whitney and I were talking about at the beginning, she and I have been both working on this cause for about a decade. And so it's pretty amazing to see how things have changed. So 10 years ago, when I was taking my first steps to getting involved with this, people were not talking about human trafficking a whole lot, or if they were talking about it as something that happened really far away. People were not talking about it to kids who were really young because it seemed like that was too scary. People were just operating with a lot of misconceptions. And while some of that is still happening, it has really, it has improved. It has grown. This is something that the more and more, rather than always hearing people only talk about the misconceptions, we're seeing the tide turn, and people are getting better information and they're getting involved. And so it is pretty cool to be able to offer people a way to make a difference. 10 years ago, I would have wanted a place like this to get involved with. So I guess instead we just made it. We've had such an outpouring of support since the beginning. And I know people are super excited about this transition home opening. I will make one last plug. If you want to get involved, you can literally take action right now, right at this very moment. If human trafficking is something that you've been wanting to get involved with for a long time, maybe you learned about it recently. Maybe you have faced that situation where you're passionate about a cause, but it seems like it's way too big for you. And so you're really not sure how to take those steps. Right now, we're offering you a way to do that. So check the YouTube description or the Facebook caption. We've got several links there for you to check out. And one is our dream list, and you can click on the Walmart or Amazon lists, and you can look through the items that we need to finish this transition home. You can give a monetary donation. You can sponsor a room. Those are all in there. I hope that you will check out our website. We've got some really cool stuff coming up. Other ways that you can get involved, volunteer opportunities. It's truly an honor to get to speak with all of you and to work with you on this.
Yeah. And again, thank you guys so much. It is so nice to know that there are people who are really taking in the message of what Dragonfly is doing. Our mission statement is that we're walking alongside victim survivors of human trafficking on their path to freedom and restoration. And I think that this home is a big step in that path for many people that we're about to serve. Yeah. So thank you guys.
Yes. Thank you, Hallie, for co-hosting with me. And so I think we will go ahead and finish out with one last virtual tour.
Yes.
I can tell that a few people have hopped on here at the end. We would not want to deprive you of the virtual tour of our transition home. So we're going to go ahead and play that to shut us after 3 hours of live streaming, and it's been really a lot of fun. So let me get that pulled up here. Oh boy, and I clicked on the wrong thing.
And remember, guys, it is Prime Day, so we did forget to mention that.
We forgot out of the 70 times that we have mentioned that tonight. That's right, it is Prime Day. Very exciting. Okay, thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
Thank you.
We wanted to point out some of our favorite parts of the transition home, and honestly, this kitchen is the heart of the home. This is going to be a very special place where so many women and their children build incredible memories. So I am super thankful to say that we've already gotten several things from our wish list for this home. This KitchenAid mixer is a part of that. We also have coffee pots and seasonings and a Ninja and coffee mugs,
some dishes, things like
Yes.
that. We still need some additional things. So if you're interested in donating, check out the link to the dream list in the video description. But I mean, this is happening. It's real. People who've donated already are really making this into a working home.
Absolutely. And you nailed it, Melissa. We've been working on opening this home and working on this project, making sure that we pay attention to every single detail. And honestly, things coming in from our supporters, from our donors, it makes it real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every single gift I look at and I think, wow, this is how a survivor is going to use it. Or
Absolutely.
this is an aspect of the home that's going to help bring joy and build autonomy.
Well, think about your kitchen at your home. If you have family or friends over, standing around having coffee, or people keeping you company while you're cooking, like that's the kind of thing that people who we serve, maybe they haven't had that opportunity, but those are the moments that make life so rich, and so you're really helping that happen here.
Yeah, and also I might add that food is truly my love language, so this is a very special place for me.
The food happens here.
Yeah.
You're making that possible. Welcome to our community area, living room, dining room combo. This is, I mean, it's just a beautiful place in our transition home.
I see so much laughter happening here and just the sound of hope, the sound of community. We really are not meant to do alone. And so what I've heard from so many survivors over the years is that they want so desperately to build relationships with people who've been through similar things, that have had similar experiences. And like, this is the setting to do that, to watch movies and to have fun and to just hang out.
Play games, spend time with people, relax. I mean, things that I think a lot of us take for granted when we're in our homes and we're able to just settle in and take a break from the rest of the world. And so this offers a beautiful environment that we all love spending time in, and people that we serve will enjoy. One of the key elements of the transition home is providing an opportunity for the people we serve to pursue goals in life. It is a transition home, and so by definition, this is a place where people can, they've come out of a crisis situation but need a little bit more support to move into an independent and sustainable life. And so that requires certain goals that people will set for themselves. This room is a big part of it.
So exactly, Melissa. And I see people that live here utilizing this room for very important things to gain autonomy. And that looks like maybe building resumes or researching employment opportunities, taking online classes, doing virtual doctor or other appointments.
Yeah.
This is just a really special room that will provide a safe space for the people that live here. Here we are in the multi-purpose room of the transition home. People who live here will be able to use this room for a multitude of activities. One purpose being kind of a little kids area. As we mentioned before, we do serve women who've survived labor and sex trafficking, but also their children. So this will be a very important space. We will also have a yoga studio, a workout area, and a relaxation area.
Something that we recognize at Dragonfly is that healing is a holistic journey. It's not just about therapy all the time and constantly going to the doctor and focusing just on the bad things. It's about living life, building life, and discovering things. And like Whitney was saying, like, you heal through all sorts of different ways. So maybe for some people that might include meditation or prayer. For some people it could be yoga. For some people, working out. So we want to provide a space that can accommodate people. Everyone's different, so accommodate people in the different ways that healing makes a difference for them. So far you have seen our kitchen, our multi-purpose room, our community room, and now we have laundry room. Every single room at the transition home is important. A lot of people that we serve haven't had the opportunity to learn how to do laundry and other types of life skills. This is just one of the kind of things that traffickers steal from people when they exploit them in trafficking. And so we've got this really nice, bright laundry room where people can learn how to do laundry. And that is part of what makes life sustainable. So one of the things that we have on our dream list are towel and washcloth sets. And look, we have received some of them. We do need quite a few more for all the people that we serve, but to those who have donated, thank you. And if you would like to donate some towels and washcloths, then you can click the link in the description for our dream list, toss them into a little cart, and send them. Now we're going to take you through the bedrooms that we have in the transition home. Each one has its own distinct style and personality, but this one is extra special because it has a special dedication.
Yeah, prior to founding the Dragonfly home, myself and other staff had the opportunity of working with a very special young woman who had been trafficked most of her life. And so in working with this young lady and learning about her story and learning about the services she needed, she truly was one of the inspirations behind wanting to open a transition home, behind seeing the need for that. And so this room will be dedicated to her. Part of the philosophy of the Dragonfly home is that we want to offer services in a super comfortable, trauma-informed environment where the people that we serve feel welcome and at peace, and they recognize that they deserve the very best despite what traffickers have told them. And so it's just so important to the Dragonfly home to have high quality decor and things that create comfort and peace in a bedroom.
Yeah, so rather than a setting where all the rooms are pretty much the same, we really wanted to add a lot of personality, which is why you will see every single room has different decor, different features, are a little bit different. Some rooms have they have a sitting area, and so that fosters community, a place where someone can journal or read. Again, it's just about a space where someone can just breathe and be, and that is so important in the healing. We are in another one of our transition home bedrooms. I would just like to point out for myself that this bedspread is my favorite. And I also love this art piece, and I would have them in my own home, and I love them very much. But also we wanted to show how these rooms are adaptable to the needs of the people that we serve.
Yeah, we have a number of bassinets and cribs and different things to accommodate the unique situations of the residents that we'll have. And oftentimes that means different children of different ages that we need to accommodate. So we've been super thankful for the various children's gifts and bedroom items that we have on our wish list that people have donated.
Something that we talk about at Dragonfly, and I'm not exaggerating when I say we talk about it all the time, is that it takes everybody playing a role to end human trafficking and to serve the victims of this crime. And really our transition home is a good example of that.
Yeah, so Melissa is talking specifically about an interior designer that we've used for the Dragonfly home. Ryan Wallace of Off the Wall Interiors volunteered to decorate this beautiful transition home, and we've just been so thankful for her. She is an example of somebody who is so passionate about helping other people and using the skills that she has, what she is good at, to benefit those people.
So everything that you've seen here, and also our crisis center, we see videos and photos of that and how beautiful it all is.
Here we are in one of my favorite bedrooms. I just love all of the color in this room. This is one of my favorite cabinets. I love how this room especially highlights the unique features that Melissa was talking about earlier in her tour, and also highlights one of our philosophies at Dragonfly. We operate intentionally on a smaller service provision model so that individuals receive high quality services and they feel like just a number.
So evidence-based studies show that receiving care and services in a smaller, more community, home-like environment is actually the most effective way for someone to heal more quickly, more effectively, and maybe for long-term healing. So we don't just have these rooms this way because we like stuff being cute. I mean, it's a nice bonus, but it's this way for a reason. This is going to be an environment where people receive services and care. So we are now in one of our 2 family rooms. Like Whitney was showing you earlier, some of our smaller rooms can be adapted for people who have a baby or a child, but it's actually not uncommon for people to come out of sex trafficking with several children. And so this is one of our larger family rooms. We've got 2 full-size beds here, and then got a trundle under here. So this room can really
adapt for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I will say that this bedroom is my top favorite bedroom in the transition home. And this bed is super comfortable. It's actually been vetted by my newborn baby who took a nap in it.
So you know it's good.
It's high quality. It's approved.
But this is just such a comfortable, homey space where, you know, some kiddos are going to be able to have a more healthy environment to grow up in. And something that we say about Dragonfly a lot is that we're breaking the cycle of exploitation. So when children have a safer space, a more stable space to grow up in, and like that already is helpful, but then we're helping their parent move into a sustainable, more stable life. And so this is just the first step of breaking abuse. So we are in our second family room, and this is the last stop on our virtual tour of our forthcoming human trafficking transition home.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you will partner with us in opening the state's first ever human trafficking transition home.
This is history being made. We are pioneering services in our state that are desperately needed, that were requested by people that we serve, and by supporting this place, you are going to make a difference. There's just no way that you can't not make a difference when you support the transition home. That was a sentence, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. And so what we need you to do right now is look at the description of the video in the YouTube description box or the Facebook caption, and click on those links. So we have a link to our dream list where you can purchase specific items for this transition home, or if you want, you can just go to our donate page on our website and make a financial donation. Whatever you choose to do is going to make a difference right now, today.